drinks.
All right, everybody.
Looky, Senator.
Here we go.
It's a Jedi.
Welcome to Midnight Mando, the season finale of Midnight Mando. I can't believe we made it this far. 8 weeks. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been a tremendously fun couple of months.
It's been a journey.
It's been a journey, and it's been a crazy year. So we can't tell you how much we appreciate everybody hanging out. And I got to say, Chapter 16, The Rescue, Mandalorian Season 2, did one of those things where it asked a whole lot of questions. Felt like Lost. I was gutted. I felt like the series finale of Lost.
It was worse than that. It was a complete emotional break and mental breakdown.
I've always told people that the 2 hardest days of my life were when my grandmother died and the day after Lost ended. Which, I don't know what that says about me. And you can extrapolate from there. Welcome, everybody, to Midnight Mando. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on YouTube. We have so much to cover. I have a feeling this could be one of the longer episodes of the season. So I hope everybody has their, I don't know, what do you call it?
Safety belts on, because we're going into hyperdrive.
Let's go ahead and introduce our roundtable. Abigail, what do you got going on there?
Spotchka.
Okay.
This is actually just Mountain Dew. Power Berry Blast. I'm doing okay, honestly. I've watched the episode 3 times and talked to friends, and I think I'm going to be all right and composed through this entire breakdown.
You're going to be good?
We'll see. I might have to step away from the microphone.
Okay. We got the live chat going in YouTube, so let us know how you guys are feeling as we get going here. Jacob Stevens joining us all the way from Washington State. I forget, you're in Seattle? Are you in Olympia? Are you in Tacoma? Those are the 3 I know.
There you go. I'm in between. I'm in Tacoma, North Tacoma. Yeah,
North Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Jake, you've got from Forlom to Zuckus. You've been with us a couple of times here. It's been a lot of fun having you. So I'm going to be relying on that expertise. We're going deep tonight. Get out your Star Wars encyclopedias.
The teacher in me is
Jake Stevenson.
Look at those
pages
notes.
And pages. No,
Damn.
ready to go.
My God.
Do we have graphs in there too? With some pie charts?
I want a Venn
fucking love
diagram.
pie.
By the way, Venn diagram of Moff Gideon's facial expressions as shit goes down.
Yes.
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 Also joining us, Troy Benjamin. You know him as the host of the Ghostbusters Interdimensional Cross Rip. He's been with us all season. He's a great friend, an even better. He's a better author than he is friend, because he's never even flown to Atlanta and hung out with us during the pandemic. How dare him?
Yeah.
And not for lack of trying. Damn it.
Troy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, guys. I've been avoiding the internet just because I don't want the internet to make me feel again. So
Right.
I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to go.
Good.
Ready to go?
It's a good group.
Ryan Dole, Vancouver, BC. How's it going up there? Are you now? Real talk. Ryan and I talked on the phone for an hour in the middle of the night. Literally because Mandalorian comes on at 3 a.m. We watch it at 3 a.m.
Yep.
And I don't want to say that was the first time that I've heard Ryan, die from crying.
Fucking weep.
Yes.
Jesus.
What happened
It was
there?
like, and then the credits roll, and then it goes then, and
Ryan.
then dude,
Calm down. We can't understand you.
I was a hot mess. Yeah, it was like snot coming down. I had tears going. I was a hot mess, and but it was all a hot mess of joy, right? Like I was so happy. I can't remember the last time I watched something of like pop culture, related that has made me like so happy that it's made me that emotional.
Right.
I really can't remember the last time. Like, and it was just, yeah.
Needless
to say, I was like,
Infinity War.
That's what I was gonna say
right?
too.
Yeah,
The
I
end
guess,
of
yeah,
Infinity
closest
War.
twin ball,
Yeah.
yeah,
I give it
Infinity
that.
War, right? And then, yeah, so like I did the same thing as Troy. You know, I avoided a lot of the internet. I muted a lot of chats today. I didn't want to hear a bunch of casuals give their hot takes. I don't care about your goddamn nitpicks, right? Like, and this happened to like multiple things, and I'm just like, with multiple people, where I just like, I don't want to hear it. I'm too high. I'm on
Right.
too natural of a high today. Like
Right
I've had
down.
what 5 hours sleep,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've had 12 hours sleep. Like I still feel so ridiculously happy with everything that I saw.
You're
Right.
gonna crash right after this. You're
Yeah,
gonna crash
it's gonna-
so hard.
Oh,
I
dude.
can't wait.
I've
can't
been
wait.
dealing with like legit insomnia for the last couple nights, and I'm on about 3-4 hours sleep in the last 48 hours.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I feel
We're all
like
gonna have Grogu hangovers.
Yeah.
I want to admit something. So I was so delirious watching this episode last night at 3 a.m. that this morning when I was talking to Abby, I said to her, and this is a real thing that happened, I said, you know, it was really cool that Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks were kicking so much ass.
Yeah, you almost didn't. Can I say what you said?
No.
Okay, good.
What did I say?
You're like you almost didn't even notice the other guy that was there with him. And I was like,
the
"That
third
other
the
guy."
third Mando from the first episode. I was like, yeah, it's crazy. He just kind of kept his help. I created a scenario in my head that he was there the whole time. And what I said was, I was like, it would have been cool if it was, you know, you got Cara Dune and you got Fennec, and then you've got the 2 female Mandos, and then you've got the dude. It would have been cool if it was all females. And Abby's like, what are you talking about? He wasn't there.
That was a seminal moment for women.
They totally roasted him.
Yeah.
They gave him the rose treatment. They said, we don't need you for this mission. Sorry, dude.
Do you know why? This is what happens when you go out on lunch. You're gonna miss the adventure, man. Because
Yes,
if he just
exactly.
went for lunch with them instead of like saying, "No, I think I'll just hang out at home today,"
Right, yeah,
right?
nothing will
And,
happen.
like, now he pays for it. You
Right.
know,
Right.
that's his own fault.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna round table it like we always do, but we're not gonna break the format here. We got to give out our credits. We've been doing it all season. How many credits are we gonna give this episode? I'm very excited about this because I have some predictions that this is gonna be a high number that we're spending this week. So let's go ahead and let's do that. And by the way, in the chat, let us know how many credits you give this episode. And this is for the last time this season.
Oh, that's.
Oh, it got cut off by the thing.
Oh, no.
well.
It's the last
Do
one.
this.
Damn.
It's gonna- Oh, I should
Strike
have brought
through font.
tissues, man. Fuck. I
All
need
right.
some soft goods.
So-
Aaron Knowles was right. I need soft goods.
So here we go. Abigail, I'm going to give you the floor. I felt for as much that was happening in this episode, obviously, let's just go ahead and say it. You've got this unbelievably bittersweet moment, the build up and the rescue and all the stuff with Din and Grogu, and then the special guest star. I don't even want to say it yet because part of me thinks I created that too. I woke up this morning, it's like, did that really happen? This was a very female badass centric episode. So Abigail, how many credits are you giving it?
I have to give this 10 out of 10 credits, like 10 exquisite credits, because this was a really important episode.
Exquisite credits.
Yes.
Yes.
Those ones made out of Bhaskar? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all right.
Penetrable. It was the most significant episode, I think, of the entire show, of both seasons that we've seen. It was just really important, unexpected, completely surreal, literally perfect, emotionally exhausting, and just delighted me, especially with some of the things that happened at the very end of the episode, which we'll get to.
Yep. There you go. Jake, how many credits are you giving?
Can I want to take a loan from the bank to
Yes.
give out 10 Beskars, 10 Republic credits, 10 Mon Calamari Flan, 10, let's just throw the whole bank at them because this episode works on a million different levels. It pays tributes to tons of Star Wars that's come before it. It lays Easter eggs and stuff for what's going to come ahead of us. It's called The Rescue, right?
Yeah.
Called The Rescue. I was talking with my buddy Steve, and I think he painted it perfectly. This episode is the rescue of the franchise from any negativity or any divisiveness that came from the sequel trilogy. This title is a metaphor because this sets all the wrongs right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, even if you don't think there are wrongs, and that's why and we'll get into some of the fan commentary today. But I've seen some weird takes today, and it's very interesting.
Star
But
Wars? Weird takes?
Star Wars talk, it's almost like they just didn't even watch it. I don't know. Troy, how many credits are you awarding The Rescue?
I'm gonna go all in. Like Jake, I'm gonna just push all of my credits in. Here's the coaxium, here's the credit shit to the Falcon, everything that I can.
Yes.
Because I stand corrected. I was thoroughly convinced we were in for heartbreak and we were going to be crying for totally different reasons.
Yes.
And as soon as that title card came up and said The Rescue, I was like, oh, thank God I needed this.
Yeah.
I needed something
Now.
good right now.
Yeah, and I'll go next, and I'll toss to Ryan afterwards. Now, we had talked for, I think Jake, you were on the episode a couple weeks ago when we first learned that, hey, Mando's going to take Grogu, he's going to take him to Tython, and he's going to put him on the Seeing Stone, and he's going to connect with the Jedi. And then it became like, well, who's the Jedi? And Jake, you had the Funko Pops of Luke and Leia, and we were like, ha ha ha, that'll never happen, but that would be amazing. And I even, anybody who follows Yes Have Some podcast knows that I kind of a big joke. I've been opening these mystery Star Wars autographs, and I was saddled with a Cal Kestis. So I went all in. I went to Kohl's.com yesterday. Abby can attest to this. I bought a Cal Kestis t-shirt. I was like, it's going to be Cal Kestis. He's going to show up, and I'm going to be like ahead of the curve.
Streets ahead.
Here's the deal.
Behind.
10 credits, lots of credits, everything you guys have said. I'm talking about, I felt like, in Revenge of the Sith, when like Chewbacca puts Yoda on his shoulders, I felt Star Wars putting me on their shoulders and taking me for a ride. And, before we came on the air, I talked to Ryan. I said, there are these moments in Star Wars, right? I believe today or tomorrow is or maybe yesterday, it's the 5-year anniversary of The Force Awakens, a movie that I really, really love. I really love that movie for so many reasons. And I remember, sitting down and then John Williams, boom, the scroll, and you're crying because it's Star Wars and it's something you love and it's something you're passionate about. But since then, we've gotten a bunch of Star Wars movies and a lot of Star Wars content. So you do run that risk of not having that strong emotional reaction just because it's Star Wars. But what I love is that this show, The Mandalorian, it converged on 2 different planes of existence where you have an incredible story over 2 full seasons being told of this connection that Din has with Grogu. And it's a father-son story. And so when I talk about the tears that were cried last night or this morning or whenever I watched it, because I have no idea what time or month it is, they were coming for, yes, they're the seeing the X-Wing show up and going, wait a minute, and like being still in utter denial, even with green lightsaber and black glove.
Yeah.
I was like, there's just no way. They're not really, but
misdirect.
It was such a heavy amount of emotion. And Jake, I like that comparison to like something like Infinity War or Endgame, where it was earned. It was so earned. And if your take and I'm going to pass to Ryan right now, I'm just taking the floor, I'm sorry. But if your take today was either, okay, well, that's how you should have done it, Ryan Johnson, then you don't get it. And if your take today was, this is a slap in the face to Ryan Johnson, this has nothing to do with Ryan Johnson or The Last Jedi. This has everything to do with Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and the story that they've been building and telling for 2 years. So I can't wait to talk about it with you guys.
Can we put a pin in that too, Craig? Because it does have something to do with The Last Jedi. It's a fun bookend, and I want to come back to it. If we
yes,
can.
obviously. Obviously, it has something to do with The Last Jedi. But
And do we also think that the season as a whole was stronger, but only because it built upon season 1? I mean, season 1 laid the groundwork where it may have not felt like it was maybe all symbiotic, but when you get through to the end of this one, you're like, this is a 16-part movie that just took me one place and carried me to another.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Attack of the Clones, because it lays all the foundation. for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Everything, including this entire 16 chapters, was built off that
I'm just a simple
foundation.
man trying to make my way in the universe.
There you go.
Thank you,
Ryan,
Abby.
Ryan, how many credits? How many credits?
Well, these guys took a lot of the references about getting more credits, so I got to try to think of one here. So I think I'm going to give a call to Newt Gunray of the banking clan, and I'm going to give him a hammer so that he can break the bank.
From the
Yeah.
banking
Give
clan.
me all the credits because this is getting all of them as well. And I know I've been giving a lot of 10 out of 10s, and that means shit coming from me at this point. Because I give everything 10 out of 10.
Yes, you do.
So, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it really doesn't matter. But the fact that I brought up Newt Gunray means that this is, like, super important.
All right.
And, there's nothing more I can really add until we really kind of get into it. So, with that said, 10 out of 10. Let's talk about Imperial shuttles.
Okay, let's do it. Before we get to the now, my brother had a hot take today, and we're gonna get to it, but I want to keep this in mind. My brother, who is a Star Wars fan, his hot take was that the last 15 minutes of this episode were the best 15 minutes in streaming television history. So I was like, okay, sure. I mean, it beats watching, The Office all the time, I guess. And I was like trying to compare. I was like, I don't know what other
Fuller House didn't do it for you.
exactly. So yes, let's we don't have to move in a linear fashion. We can skip around, but we should set the stage. So chapter 16, directed by Peyton Reed. He did the first episode this season. He's the director of the Ant-Man movies. Yes, Jake.
Second episode. Favreau did the first one.
Oh, okay, right.
He did the second one.
He did the second episode. So I think he was the only director to do 2 this year, or is that, or the only guest director to do 2? Something along those lines.
Favreau, Reed, Howard, Weathers, Filoni, Rodriguez, Fukuwama, Fukiara, and then Reed again. Yeah,
there you go. And written by Jon Favreau. And obviously, we know that the episode's called The Rescue. So it was they open up with this Imperial shuttle and the faux chase. Right, again, we get to see right off the bat Slave One in action. Jake, first time, long time. Jake Stevens. What do you think of the first opening minutes of the episode?
It's they really knock it out of the park in regards to showing these ships for what they can do and bringing out their attributes, which we played with as toys. I mean, again, to me, it's just I envision a baby Favreau or a teen or a 10-year-old Favreau around the room with this Slave One, and acting these battles out. I mean, that's what we're seeing, and that's why I think it hits such a strong chord with all of us. Specifically, we're collectors too, and so we're seeing our action figures come to life. We're seeing them played out on the screens, and the vehicles, and the cannons, and the weapons, and it's bringing the world that we had a limited play world when we were young because there was only a couple movies and you had to watch them on VHS, and that was your exposure. You did that less than you played in your room with your toys, and so we're able to now live in a world where what we did in our Toy Stories are now coming alive, right? So it works for me all the way.
Yep.
All the way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Slave One had ion cannons. So there you go.
There you go.
Not surprised.
Right.
Well, it's kind of funny because you're talking about like how it's like watching them play with their toys, and it's like knowing these guys, they were probably playing with those toys like a month before they started.
Right.
Writing season 1.
Never stop.
Why limit it to childhood? Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked this scene, right? So we see Dr. Pershing, who he's popped up here and there. We know that he's been the one who is kind of, maybe he's not such a bad guy, but he's working for bad people. That's kind of a common theme in Star Wars. And he's freaking out. Like, you could just tell he's like, I want no part of this. I want to be home so bad. I don't care about the child or the blood or the M count. But when they board, when they dock and you see Mando come in, and there's this really great moment with these Imperial pilots, and one of them is like all about the cause, and the other one's just like, God, I should have done better in high school.
These guys.
Right.
Am I working for the bad guys?
I loved the one guy was a great actor though.
Yeah.
The guy,
dude, he was such a dick.
he was.
He's the best supporting villain of the whole series, I think. He was
He's
awesome.
from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I was
Okay.
gonna say it's another Sarah
Oh.
Haley Finn special. It's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. crossover.
Oh.
He was one of the Maliks. But
He was Malik, right? Young Malik? Wasn't he a young Malik?
Nathaniel. Yeah.
Go back and watch that. He was channeling Heath Ledger's Joker in that
Yes.
scene. The way he was his dialect, the way he was delivering those lines, it was really menacing. I really liked it.
Yeah, like talking about how he saw Cara Dune's planet destroyed and saying like, I was on the Death Star, but then she comes back with the line like, which one? Which is
Oh yeah, we have to talk
So-
about that. So is this canon now? If you survived Alderaan, do you get a rebel tear tattooed?
And if
Yeah,
that's
Leia,
the case,
what the
where's
hell?
Leia's?
Yeah, where's Leia's?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Where's her face hit?
she got one, but they don't show.
Okay.
There's
Late-
the ink, Leia.
I love. Wait, are we
Uh-huh.
new canon in my head? New head canon. Leia has a rebel insignia tattooed on her lower back.
Okay.
Then let's just do it. Why not? I might get that. I
Lower
don't know.
back tramp stamp, like
Yeah.
lower
I was gonna say,
back.
what about an ankle?
No,
Like,
it's not a tramp stamp at Star Wars. It's a Wampa Lampa.
it's a
Sorry.
skank in the scud pie.
It's a skank
No,
in the
we
scud
would-
pie.
We would have seen it in the bikini. We would have seen it.
We would have
It's gotta
seen
be
it. We would
somewhere.
have seen it. You're
Or
not telling.
hidden.
Listen, there is a bootleg underground tattoo parlor in the back of Jabba's palace. You just know it. So, Troy, any thoughts? What'd you think of this opening scene? They kind of get right into the action here.
Yeah, I think like Abby, I was kind of knowing what was going to happen just based upon him egging her on about all she's gonna put a blaster bullet right through the middle of your forehead. You know this, right?
This is not going to end
Like-
well.
Yeah, and they don't give a shit about Pershing, so you know that he's collateral damage if it happens. He just needs to give them whatever info they need and they can move on. So when she shot him right between the eyes and Pershing's ear gets blown off or singed or whatever ends up happening, it was not all that surprising and actually kind of gratifying because you're just like, do it, go. This guy's a dick. Just do it. Go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You earned it very quickly.
Yeah. And such a great moment. I mean, again, like Jake was saying, seeing that cockpit shot of Slave One coming into view after they disable it with the ion cannon, and it's just like you see the size and the scale of the Slave One, and exactly what Boba Fett wants to do with that glass canopy is he wants to intimidate you by coming up and just kind of giving you a little bit of a stare down before he boards your ship. It was such a great scene, such a good scene.
It's interesting. Boba Fett as a character, it's almost like he's a fully formed character for the first time. People have loved Boba Fett for so long, but now it's like we kind of know him. We know his motivation. We know
We know his dad.
we
Backstory,
do
yeah.
know
Like,
his
we've
dad.
met his, we've met his
We
parents.
know his dad. But yeah, I mean, the episode really does move along. So is it just after this is when they somebody fill me in. When I say I'm delirious, I'm not lying. I know they go to the other planet to meet up with Cara
Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan.
Two
Yeah.
Mandalorians walk into a bar.
Right, there you go.
Right?
They land and you see Bo-Katan's ship, which was the dead giveaway. That was pretty cool to see. You know, they land and you see that the two spires of the Mandalorian ship there.
That's from season 7 of the Clone Wars.
There you
She
go.
had the same one in season 7.
Now, when they
Yeah.
walk in, this is another in an episode that's just full of incredible scenes and incredible moments. This is I feel like if we had a segment called like most underrated scene, it would be this one. This whole conversation that takes place between Boba Fett and
Casca.
And Bo-Katan. And I don't know. It's again adding layers to this story of Mandalore and the Mandalorian like heritage and the various
the factions and the resentment.
It's just crazy.
I love all
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But dude, what I
Show
like
how
when
they
they go
felt for
into
the
that
film.
place, it almost looks like a Star Wars version of McDonald's, like the way the menu was lit up, and you could go up to the counter and order, and then like all the tables and chairs looked like something out of like Space McDonald's, like
Space McDonald's.
You could just tell, you could just tell they were ordering like
over
Big Macs
1
and shit.
billion miniature squids served.
Yeah, it's a corporate.
That's
spot.
right, over 1 million calamari served.
Yes,
And it was like, and it just, I don't know, I just thought that was really cool. And you're right, like that interaction between them was like awesome. Like when she calls, Boba Fett, like your dad, like you mean donor? And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it is on.
Yes, I
And then
heard
like
your voice.
you could just tell like they're just gonna throw quips at each other and they're gonna fight. And then we got to see some wrestling and we got to see things get wrecked. It was great. It was like every fight you see at a McDonald's at 1 a.m. when the bars close. Like it was so awesome.
The bar at the McDonald's is
McDonald's?
closed. Somebody's got an
Yeah.
iPhone filming it. Troy,
Yeah.
I am gonna throw to you, but I'm gonna throw to Troy next. But this what do you call it? The little stare down between Boba Fett and what's Sasha Banks' character's name?
Casca.
Casca. They have this kind of
Dick
they
measuring
get
contest?
a dick measuring contest, and they get into a fight, and she totally tornado DDTs him off the wall
Yes.
using her jetpack. It was incredible. Like it was so cool. But
Dude,
yeah.
I popped.
Dude,
popped pretty
that
hard.
was
it was
awesome.
insane. It was insane.
Real quick, I gotta say, Ray Cameron says that restaurant is called McClunky's.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it is.
That's a good call.
Oh, where's
McClunky.
that shirt? We need it.
Yes.
We need that now.
Probably
Yeah.
already
Golden
exists.
arches.
Hey, that's one thing I've learned. If you've got a good idea,
It's already taken.
it's taken. Troy, impressions.
Yeah,
of,
by Ray.
impressions of this entire throwdown here.
I was totally into it. I mean, again, this kind of goes back to, and we've talked about it before, like heroes meeting up and they have to fight to measure each other up. It's the old
Always.
Yeah.
superhero trope. So they fight and then they come to us. It's the exact same thing that happened with Ahsoka and.
Yep.
And this needs to happen. They got to get it out of their system. It's unfortunate they don't fight later, but we can get to that.
Right. There's some
But
really
yeah, I mean, that was a great setup. Yeah.
there's some important plot points. They're talking about the dark saber, right? And Bo-Katan is kind of saying like, "Hey, I don't care what goes down. I don't care if we need him, because Cara Dune's like, we need him alive because he's, former ISB or whatever, and we need the information. Because we got to remember Cara Dune's motivation, they all have these individual motivations. Cara Dune is working with the New Republic now, and she's like, there are remnants of the Empire. This guy's, he's the biggest bad we know of. I'm assuming there's somebody, bigger at some point, maybe Snoke or whatever, but Cara Dune's
Maybe
trying
something a little blue.
maybe. Right, exactly. It's probably Thrawn. Or, you never know. So, Cara Dune's motivation is, hey, we need this guy alive. Bo-Katan's like, hey, that's fine.
I need him to relinquish.
the Saber. And, like, Mando is like, I just need the kid. I don't really care what happens. I don't want to get involved. So, they're all kind of going, this unlikely crew, palling together to, with a common goal of this rescue. So the really good exchange of dialogue, good acting all around. I thought this was a really effective scene, and it kind of set up, what was going to happen.
Question about this scene. Before we leave this planet, guesses on planet? Because I have a theory.
I thought that, it part of me was thinking like, in my brain, okay, what locations have we seen already? It's not Tatooine, obviously, but it has that Tatooine kind of feel. It didn't seem like it was, it wasn't the planet where we first met them, because that was like the water shipping yard planet. Yeah. I would love to hear your theory.
Oh, well, since you asked,
We didn't plan this. It was great.
it feels to me like they came over grasslands. And it was almost like grasslands.
Okay.
And there were factories. And if we go back to Rebels, that's what happened to Lothal. Because remember, it used to be a metropolis, and then it got industrialized, and they built all the factories, and the grasslands kind of grayed up a little bit. So, I mean, I have no proof whatsoever. It's just a theory out there.
Right.
But it's an educated theory.
Yeah, it is an educated theory.
Yeah.
And I think like what we know, the thing I've been telling everybody today is like a week ago when they did the Star Wars presentation at for the Disney Plus convention, whatever it was, it wasn't Comic-Con, but it's the closest we got to this year for the shareholders meeting. I thought I had a really good sense of where Star Wars was going. And now I just don't. Like I don't know what Rangers of the New Republic's going to be. I don't know what the Book of Boba Fett's going to be. We're going to get into it. Like we don't know what's going on with season 3 of Mandalorian. If it exists.
Let's speculate at the end.
The last 10 minutes of this episode has balls this big. So
yes, it does.
they could do anything. They could do anything now. It doesn't matter. I mean, they could do anything.
But yeah, that is, I think if we do see in the Ahsoka series her hunting down Thrawn, bringing in Ezra, bringing in that Rebels canon, I think that's a good educated guess. Let's pin that and come back to it. When in 2 years when we get the reveal, I'll call Jake and be like, "You were right." So from here we're moving on to the actual rescue. So this was kind of a cool. Before we move on, Ryan, did anybody else have anything to say about this scene other than?
Nope.
Like we're all collectors, so we need all the figures.
Yeah.
Other than that, I would buy that restaurant as a HasLab.
McClunky's. Troy?
McClunky's, yeah.
I was just going to say that this is also where we find out that the Darksaber cannot cut through pure Beskar, which we kind of had a sense because the lightsaber was ineffective against the Beskar too. So, Beskar Jedi proof.
Yeah,
and
I like it.
Darksaber proof.
And then we also get the foreshadow that he said, "You help me get the child back. I will help you with whatever you need to do." So we saw the transferring, or we saw the preview of quest number 2.
Yep. And by this logic of it being Jedi proof, I'm now going with the fan theory that Watto had a Beskar plate in his head, and that is why. That's right. Your Jedi tricks don't work on my head. I have a plate in my head. Okay, let's. All right, so they are going to dock. They're going to somehow get onto this light cruiser. I'm glad they did not have to dress up like Imperials this week to do it.
They just used an Imperial ship.
Sorry, say that again, Ryan. You cut out.
Oh, sorry. They kind of did. They used an Imperial ship.
Well, they did. So I love this.
There was a ruse.
It was a ruse,
Yeah.
and this is kind of what I was talking about with Boba Fett earlier. Like they have a fake space battle, which is something I don't think we've seen in Star Wars before. Like let's pretend.
I could put on a show.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back to Tatooine to take care of Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, I know you've heard my voice 1,000 times.
Yeah.
God.
What if he didn't know? He's like, what if they cut to Boba Fett? He's like, earlier when that girl was saying she heard my voice 1,000 times, what was she talking about? There's no other clones, is there?
Julia Hansen says that the Beskar foil helmet, that's the equivalent if you have it on your head.
Yeah,
of the aluminum
there you
foil.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, it keeps everything out.
It keeps it all out.
So it's a cool scene though. Like they get the Imperial shuttle and they I don't know, they just the TIE fighters, that's what it was. This was so cool. This was so cool.
Battlestar Galactica launch sequence.
There was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot at the beginning of this episode, first half hour, that actually I was getting hints of Battlestar Galactica. I was getting hints of Terminator at times.
Same.
And
Starbuck has landed her Viper in the bay of the Battlestar exactly the way that she does the Tiberium shuttle.
It was
So
cool.
she knew what she was doing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Now, were
Was
you guys?
Gideon not expecting this? Like, that's the thing. Like, he literally got a message saying, "I'm coming, and hell's coming with me." And he's like, "I don't know. Let's check that shuttle out. Let's see if their codes are good still." Like, no, scramble the fleet right away. That was kind of weird.
Well, I think maybe that's why they used the whole thing with Boba Fett, because then it's like, oh, Boba Fett's the freaking dude that's coming after us. That's why he's picking off all the shuttles. Right.
Right. And maybe, and also, like, I think we learned a lot about Moff Gideon in this episode. Like he's not much. Like he when he has the dark saber, obviously he's got an edge, and it brings power and the story and all of that. But I mean, dude, the guy tried to blow himself away in a Disney show. The guy tried to like just kill himself. First, he tries to he tries to shoot Grogu, and then he's like, "Fuck, I'll just kill myself." And like that's kind of dark. That's dark stuff. And there was that not to sidetrack too much, but remember there was this the Colin Trevorrow script for episode 9, Duel of the Fates. One of the things that stood out from that was there was going to be a scene where we see Hux take his own life with a lightsaber, and everybody was like, "There's no, this is so dark." Hey,
I'm glad it's in there. It's like the ultimate selfish act
do
that.
Well, that makes me think there's a bigger bad at play. That probably is Thrawn.
Yeah, and to put it in your words, you said that Moff Gideon was a baby back bitch when you watched the episode.
You're
like, he's literally, because he's kind of like egging on and being annoying in his speech delivery.
Yes.
Does he have something hanging over him? Because once he finds out, that the Mando is there to take the kid back, he's like, I got what I need. I got his blood. His blood's going to bring order to the galaxy again. It's like I am a lackey for someone else who is telling me to do things. So I started getting some impressions of, I thought Moff Gideon was the big bad for all intents and purposes of this entire series, but there is somebody who's hanging something over his head. And I think now that he's fulfilled whatever mission he's been asked to do, he's like, what's my way out? Mando, you want to take him? Go ahead.
Right.
Can I come with you? You're going to spare my life. Fantastic. That's great. Let's go.
Now I thought that was this is a piece of dialogue I really want to break down. When Moff Gideon says, this child has properties that can restore order, it's very, very similar to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. And there is the theories out there, like Grogu and Anakin are about the same age. And like, I know the Skywalker saga is over, but then you saw the last 10 minutes of this episode and you're like, hi, I'm Skywalker Saga. I'm here to help.
And no coincidence that one episode previous they were talking about people don't want freedom, they want order. So the Empire certainly has their kind of marching orders. Order, pun intended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, to all the people who really think that they're going to retcon the sequel trilogy, it's not going to happen. I would point all of you to 35 and 40-year-old Star Wars fans in 1999 who thought they were going to retcon the prequels, and then what they did was they just made the prequels better and better with more and more content. So we will see the origins of the First Order. I think the Empire right now seems like they're kind of on their last legs, but
yes,
I don't know.
Can we take a little step back though before we get to the Moff Gideon interaction? There is some badass stuff going down with Bo, Casca, Fennec, and Cara Dune coming in.
Let's do it.
Just tearing shit apart. Doing
this is where
creative
I swore the other Mandalorian was there. I was like, where is he?
No. And that's why I was like taken aback by that. I was like, this was the coolest moment in the episode, I think, for me. Like when the four of them are like going down that it's like a bridgeway or whatever, and there's troopers coming towards them, and then Cara and Fennec shoot, and then at that point Bo and Casca drop down and then pop back up.
Yeah.
That's like such a cool moment for me.
It was why are we looking at each other? Because we're next to each other. Yeah, I'm very intrigued. Hey, we need to mention this. There's a scene before this where Pershing gives them the, and I don't know when this happened, if this was earlier in the episode or just before this, but he literally is like, hey, here's the map, and I'm going to show you everything that the child is here.
Dude, and you know what the best part about that is that it's Cara Dune that says, oh, great, an objective opinion. And I swear to God, they were like trolling her.
Oh no! I think they filmed this 2 years ago.
Galen Erso. That's what it gives me vibes of. He's Galen Erso.
He's a total Galen Erso.
He's a science guy who's working for the people who've got the best science right now.
Yeah,
but he's ready to do what's right.
He's Dr. Fauci.
He's
a scientist. Dr. Fauci.
Smart guy in a tough situation.
Anyways, moving on. So I loved all of this, and I loved Skank and the Scud Pie, which is now my new favorite. They've used it twice this year.
We may have written a hit song called "Skank and the Scud Pie"
I
to
did.
be recorded later.
I wrote it today.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna
it's-
play it right.
no, it's not.
That was the plan.
That
we
was the
just
plan.
had to keep watching the episode.
I kept falling asleep. I'm like robo tripping.
I really dug that Expendables moment where Cara Dune's gun was jammed for a good chunk of set. Like it was very 80s action movie where she's just in the background like slamming it against the ground
Yep.
and trying to
It
figure out.
reminded me of playing Battlefront 2 and your gun overheats.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what that reminded me of, because it was just like, I've been there. I've been on an Imperial starship and my gun has jammed. I know what that's like.
Let's
It's
talk about,
frustrating. You do swear.
Real quick, I'm getting questions about my blue drink, so I wanted to share with everyone.
Yes.
It's Mountain Dew Voltage.
Oh,
It's got like a raspberry kick to it.
very
Tastes
rare.
Are
like
we all just
vodka.
going to show off our blue?
Yeah, do it.
So
Uh-oh.
I was copying you,
Don't worry.
Ryan.
Dark Troopers. We learned more
And
about
you
the.
can.
We learned more about the Dark Troopers in this episode. So we saw the Dark Troopers do their Tokyo Drift skydiving moment where they kidnapped
Dude, they
Grogu.
get charged up to Skrillex.
Yeah.
Skrillex comes on, and you know
Skrillex.
they're charged,
Did you-
and their
Did you guys
iPhone
notice
docks
the
are ready to
Imperial
go.
March? Did you catch
Is it
that?
the
Like
Imperial
that-
March?
that booty was like the
Fuck
dan,
you.
dan, 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 dan. Oh,
It's,
it was so
it's
good.
beautiful.
God,
That
that
the you
music.
cannot say the season 2 score every episode has been unbelievable.
It better be labeled Dark Trooper dubstep, or I'm
Yes.
gonna
It's
riot.
I think it's just called Troopers.
I think
But
it's called Dub Trooper.
Yeah.
I just want to go.
there's
to
going to be a
bridge.
reverse. There's going to be a reverse dubstep remix where it's just an orchestral piece.
Oh God! Give me every remix. I'll buy it.
But seriously, we learned a lot about these Dark Troopers, right? So there had been, Dark Troopers came out of the Legends canon, and people have been talking like, are they Force sensitive? Are there people in there? Are they clones? We did learn today they are droids. They're like super droids. But there could be more to it. Like we don't know if I don't know.
They
Could
removed the one weakness being the human being.
Right. I thought it was kind of cool.
Right,
Well,
but
they
it kind
mentioned
of
that
does
they
go
were
back,
third-
and I'm not doing this on purpose, but they are kind of like super battle droids from episodes 2 and 3, right? And even in their same way, like even the way their hands move and they're doing the
Right.
right and punching
Yeah.
things, like it's the same. They have that very, they're like dark versions of the super battle droids.
Yeah.
I think that's important to. Sorry,
No,
Abby,
you're good.
didn't mean to run over you.
No, you're good.
Um,
You're good.
I was gonna say I think that's an important connection to make, because in the prequels the villains were droids, right? And they had to do battle against lightsabers, and they found that droids can fail pretty quickly against lightsabers. So then when lightsabers disappeared, they evolved to humans with armor, because that's a little easier to battle with blasters. And now we know why they would go back to droids, because droids are pretty darn strong against someone who doesn't have a blaster, right?
Yep.
And so I think that going through the cycle, but when you see a lightsaber introduced, as we do here, you see why the droid armies kind of blipped out of existence for a while.
Easily they're dispatched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can say this because it's a safe space for the people who will have maybe gotten the reference too. But I got a lot of Terminator 2 3D vibes from them starting up.
Wow. Okay.
And
Yep.
the like powering up and the eyes and the it really reminded me of that one moment before the ride movie whatever starts.
I mean,
That
there.
is funny, because I did kind of put that in my notes as well, and I said it's kind of like a mixture of that, Cylons and Sentinels from X-Men, just because of how they
Yeah.
they blast off like Sentinels. Like that
Well-
makes sense.
Yeah. Well.
Airborne, yeah.
Well, when Din is when we see the scene with Din getting the shit beat out of him, it's very Terminator. It's just pummeling him against the wall. Luckily, he's got the
Yeah.
best car.
Yeah, unstoppable punishment, cold robotic
Yeah.
anger.
Oh, dude, when he's getting like drilled into the wall with by his head,
That was
I-
Superman v Batman vibes there too.
right? Like,
Should have said his
it
mom's
was
name was
absolutely
Martha.
that.
Right. Yeah. All the
Yeah.
Dark Troopers names, their mom's names are all Martha. Every one of them.
Grand
Martha
Moff
1.0, Martha 1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say Grand Martha Tarkin? Is that what you said?
No, I said Grand Moff Martha.
Oh, Grand
Grand
Moff
Moff
Martha.
No, those are
So-
both good though.
But Abby, you mentioned
Yeah.
it earlier. This scene really is badass. This whole scene where, because they're taking out the regular troopers, and the stormtroopers all season have just been decimated. Like, I mean, in every way, shape, and form, like they completely leaned into, hey, stormtroopers just suck at their job.
Disposable. Yeah.
We
100%.
were
There's
watching
just a
this
lot
as
of them.
family.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Abby.
Oh, no, you're good. You got it.
I was going to say, we were watching this as a family, and my 14-year-old goes, why? She goes, why are stormtroopers just bad? And I just looked over and go, sweetie, there's so many of them. They're just not good at their job. They're like the Walmart employees of the Empire.
They don't want to be there.
Sorry.
They really are.
They
They
don't have
really are.
insurance.
And they're the dregs
I have to
as it
say
is. Yeah.
I think we had the most brutal of stormtrooper deaths though in this episode,
Oh.
where he's just choking them out with the staff slowly.
I love that
and then
moment.
just kind of.
I felt like that was like he was almost so happy that he killed the dark trooper that now it's like it's just easy for him, so he's having fun while he's
Right.
doing it.
It's like when
Yeah,
when you're
right?
playing a video
Yeah.
game, you get a really hard
Kill the big
level,
boss.
and then you finally
No,
beat
it's
it.
like it's like a cat when they break a mouse's leg. That's what it's like.
So easy.
It's just easy comparatively to the dark trooper.
So we've kind of got two things happening at this point. We've got the main crew, because they split up. Din is off to find Grogu, and the main crew is making their way to the bridge, which makes perfect sense. I like this light cruiser. It's been really fun to get to know this new ship and the bridge. It pulls, it feels Star Wars, it feels Star Trek, it feels Battlestar. Like it's interesting to be at a point in Star Wars where other pieces of pop culture and science fiction are actually showing their own influence in Star Wars.
Inspiring.
It's just inevitable. Like we get it. Star Wars.
But it doesn't feel forced though either. It's not like you're not the Leonardo DiCaprio meme going, that's from Battlestar, right? You're not doing that. You just see the influence, and I think that's what makes it special as well.
Abby, you were going to say some stuff earlier.
Oh, I actually covered it. I was going to say that the dark troopers are like T-1000 troopers, and I was getting that same like unstoppable vibe.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So they make their way to the bridge, and they kind of clean house. They kind of take care of everybody pretty easily. But this whole build up to Din trying to get to Grogu is great. So he comes upon to where the dark troopers are activated. And Pershing said earlier, it's going to take a couple minutes for these guys to get going until the cold fusion sets in. Put on your 3D glasses, Skynet. Troy, you're absolutely right, by the way. And so one gets out, right? That's kind of, and then you really see like this dark trooper is powerful, which makes what happens later in the episode even more incredible. So they have the fight, and then the really cool moment where he hits the airlock or whatever, and they all get sucked out into space forever. So we thought. And then he makes it to Grogu, and he goes in, and obviously Moff Gideon is there. So let's break down this scene. Abby,
Yeah.
go for it. Tell me. Give me your feelings.
The walking in and seeing Grogu with the handcuffs on, it was excruciating for me. Like as a animal lover and just a person who everyone loves Grogu. It was really hard to see that moment. Honestly, like the discussion between Din and Moff Gideon was like. It was tense. I didn't really know who to believe at that point. Moff Gideon is kind of like a silver-tongued piece of shit. So I didn't really know which way it was going to go. I was very stressed. But as soon as the moment comes where Moff like turns his dark saber on from the behind, I was like, oh, this is going to get
bad.
not the way I wanted this to go.
Right.
And it does feel like all hope is kind of lost because it's getting very dark towards the end of that episode. So it's tough.
Troy. Go for it, man.
I mean, I think this is kind of where you were talking about the questions. It's answering questions, but it's opening up 7,000 others. So this is the first one now that's setting up the Luke and Grogu adventures or whatever ends up coming out in 2028 here. Like what is he doing now that he's got the blood? He doesn't care. He has a force sensitive, angry Jedi that he could be using and exploiting and using for his cause, but he's so willing to get rid of it because he's got the blood. Now I got the blood. That's all I need. And I don't know if how much of that was like him trying to play, kind of like Abby was saying, he's so the silver tongued, he's just trying to play Din so that he can stab him in the back, or if that was factual, if he was just willing to be like, I know that's your kid, here you go, be gone with you. And then of course the fight after that, now that Din realizes he has that spear and can use it, he's like, oh, I'm going to use this now all the time. It was kind of fun to watch him like start to utilize it instead of just having it strapped to his back to look cool. It worked really well.
Yeah, because he was out of ammo at that point. That was kind of like a cool thing to see him take.
Oh, right, he had used his wrist. Yeah. I like when Moff Gideon says, he's like, assume that I know everything. Like he's very like his delivery was great. Like Giancarlo Esposito is an incredible actor. Jake,
he is ISB. He is ISB, and I think that's where it rings even truer for me that he does kind of know everything. I'm sure he has spies everywhere. We saw that he had a spy on the planet that that guy set the tracker on Razor Crest. Rest in peace. And
yes, Force Ghost Razor Crest.
The Imperial Security Bureau is where he's from, and so we've seen a handful of those people. Yularen was ISB. From Clone Wars and also in New Hope. He was the guy in white, right, at the round table on the Death Star. And then also Callus from Rebels was ISB as well. And so these guys are serious, these guys know their stuff. And I agree with Abby. The silver tongue, he's ready to backstab you. He's ready to manipulate you. He knows he's got all the pawns in places, and he knows all the procedures, and he knows that the dark troopers got sucked out. They'll be back in 5 minutes.
Right.
He is
they're just at McClunky's right now.
Right. He is a serious threat, which, for being such a serious guy, you bring up the good point of, how punk ass is he that he wants to end it once he's backed into a corner on the bridge. But I felt he held his own with a Darksaber pretty darn well against a trained Mandalorian. That fight there was really fun for me. The way they were dragging the saber against the wall, it had vibes of Bespin duel through the hallway from Luke and Vader, and so I enjoyed it, even though it was pretty brief. And that's the crazy thing about this episode was the last 10 minutes makes all the massively memorable scenes throughout the prior 30 minutes trying to get forgotten because you're just like, what?
Yeah.
You forget the awesome scenes like the ball in the McClunkies and then the hallway battle here.
Right.
It's a lot of great moments.
Yeah. Ryan?
I don't have too much to add for this because I think you guys pretty much nailed it. But Aaron Knowles in the chat, he kind of threw out there that the Darksaber being able to heat up the Beskar, and you could see it like glow, and and he said it's a nice touch, and I do have to agree because that did look pretty cool when it's holding there, and again God, I'm gonna bring these up any chance I get. It just kind of takes me back to just prequel and Clone Wars era stuff where you see lightsabers are actually
lightsaber
hot.
and a blast door. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the lightsaber battle, right? It's something you always talk about in Star Wars, right? So obviously the prequels gave us those very choreographed, theatrical, over the top lightsaber duels that we never got in the first trilogy. Although I will say that I think that the Luke Darth Bespin battle is great. I mean, obviously Darth Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope is like, if there was ever anything to touch up, maybe that. But I think this season, the stuff with Ahsoka and the Magistrate was great. And then I think what we see now with the Beskar staff versus the Darksaber, I think those are great. And I think they're right up there with the Snoke's throne room with Rey and Kylo, and also with Rey and Kylo on the Death Star, which is one of my favorite scenes of all of Star Wars. So just really cool that they took time to kind of let it breathe in this episode and have an actual kind of saber duel right there, in the hallway of the light cruiser.
The duels are always the best when there's emotion behind them. Like the choreography behind, Attack of the Clones was cool, and seeing, 5,000 Jedi versus 5,000 droids was awesome, but the emotion wasn't there. And in this particular instance, like seeing Din and Gideon fighting, like he's battling for his kid's survival, and
Yes.
Gideon is fighting for this pesky fly that keeps popping up, and he just wants to swat. I'm right there with you, Craig. Like we've seen so many great emotional duels now between Mando and the sequel trilogy, and I think people have latched onto that. Like it can look dazzling and it can be incredible, but as long as if you're not invested in it, if you're as an audience member not concerned for people's safety, like I'm expecting Mando to the one part of Beskar that's not there, like that's vulnerable. So Gideon's going for it, and you're just kind of hoping it doesn't happen.
One thing that stood out in this scene is like Grogu did seem he seemed kind of out of it, right? He seemed like
He's drained, literally, physically, of blood.
Yeah.
And he's sleepy. Yeah, he's been like trapped, and
Right.
it's visible.
That happened in the first season, right, Abby? Like after they kind of experimented on him in the first season, and Mando goes into
and-
that.
yeah.
You see him.
Well, yeah, I mean that.
Yeah.
I mean he's so small and he's still young, and he's probably traumatized. He's who knows how much time it's been, but it's been at least a couple days or a week or
there's
whatever.
probably not a lot of blood in that little guy either.
Right.
So who knows how much they're draining?
Or if they give him cookies,
They
even
don't.
afterwards.
There's no way.
Or frogs.
Right. There's no way that the
No.
Dark Troopers are setting down snacks for.
Yeah.
But so
AJ, quick, good man. Grogu, more like Gragu.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So
Nice. That was good.
well, let's get to this.
Jedi business. Go back to your drinks.
Sorry, Troy mentioned Attack of the Clones.
He did. We're gonna have to do a special episode where we talk about how I learned this week that InSync was in Attack of the Clones and then cut out. Three members of InSync are part of the Jedi battle.
I heard Joey Fatone snuck in.
Whoa, we'll have to ask.
Joey Fat One.
Hey, come
man.
on. Honestly, that is how you spell his name, though. He's not wrong.
True. It's true.
It is.
So
The princes were cut from The Last Jedi, I believe.
I'm sorry.
The princes of England.
Oh yeah,
princes?
yeah.
Harry and
Harry and Lloyd.
William?
What are
Yeah.
their names?
Harry and Lloyd.
I don't know.
Harry and Lloyd. I don't even think either of them are like
Lloyd.
princes anymore. Didn't they like all denounce like the royal
Didn't they
family?
stop doing that?
They did
Yeah,
something.
like it's just not cool anymore, right?
Now, one actress's husband and his brother.
Yeah, there you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Meghan Markle. I know things.
They're still Canadian royalty. Like the Queen is still on our money. You'd think I would know this.
I thought Queen Amidala was on your money.
I would.
No, she's got my money.
Oh.
Come on, that was good and that was quick.
I gave you a clap.
Come on.
It's quiet.
Padme, the Force be with
Great,
you.
I got the clap from Abby.
You
now.
got
So
You like
let's move on to this third act, which was a complete emotional breakdown, meltdown. We have
Did everyone make a timeline of your points of tears and how much and
Yes.
at what point?
Yes. My timeline of trauma. Yes.
Ooh. Before we move on, we got a Death Star droid walking through the
we
hallways.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was the shot for the cover.
Yeah, the
image for
preview
episode.
image on Disney
Yeah.
Plus was this one.
And that was played by Chris Bartlett, who has been being 3PO when Anthony Daniels. When Tony doesn't want to show up, Chris Bartlett is him. So
Understudy.
Does Anthony Daniels just like when he chooses to like I'm just hold him up for more money and like I will not be leaving my hotel today.
No, his trailer. Just hanging out in his trailer.
Yes.
oh, there's not enough cuss words in that sentence for you to do a proper answer.
Oh, okay,
Aw.
okay.
Oh yeah. Diva.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
But yeah, that was cool. I like seeing that Death Star droid. It's all. I mean, that's just one of those little tiny things where
Yeah, in amidst a very fast-moving episode, it was like a small moment that was nice to focus in on.
I still need to buy my. Sorry, I was about to
no,
start
go ahead.
talking
Go
about
ahead.
the Death Star droid I need for my. It's the only figure I need for my vintage A New Hope collection. I just haven't pulled the trigger. It's only $20. I could do it anytime, but
Just
anyways.
do it.
Not
Just do
now.
it right now after this.
We called
Yeah.
that. We had an episode this week of Toy Anxiety. We talked about how Jake he never wants to finish collections because he makes him sad. We call it collection edging, where you get right to the end and you just don't do it. Okay, what were you going to say, Troy?
I was just going to ask the group if Boba Fett was missing this whole time as a misdirect for what was about to happen in the third act. Like, because when the single craft comes in, my first thought was, well, where the hell has Boba Fett been this whole time? Like, I was expecting him to come in guns blazing and, taking some of the dark troopers out with his
Right.
badass armor now.
So-
Yeah, no crap.
Where did he go?
We know where he went. He's like, all right,
Well,
I've
yeah.
done my thing. I'm going to Tatooine.
But he goes back
Well,
and
no,
he's got-
because he had
Oh,
to
no,
pick
'cause
up his
Fennec-
buddy.
So he was at
Yeah.
McClunky's. He was picking up food for Fennec.
Cool.
I didn't get food last time. That bloody Mandalorian tried
Kind of sauce
picking
do
a
you want?
fight with me, and I didn't get my McNugget.
I like how all of our Kiwi accents just sound like angry Cockney people at a pub.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they're
we're
bad.
just
They're real
not
bad.
good at
Yeah,
Kiwi
like I'm
accent.
not known for impressions. That's not my thing. That's Craig's thing.
Oh, am I? Win the war.
It's pretty good.
Mark Hamill's other
Yeah.
character in Rise of Skywalker. So speaking of Mark Hamill,
Yes.
so Mando takes out Moff Gideon and he knocks him around and basically they're going to take him prisoner and take him to the bridge and that was fun.
Let's talk about Bo-Katan's face.
Let's
when,
do it.
When they all walk in, she looks at them taking it in.
Yeah.
and
Oh, dude,
such
man.
a neat moment.
Yeah.
The moment like he kicked Gideon's ass and he grabs the saber, and if you've watched the Clone Wars, then you know exactly what just happened.
Right.
Right? So already you're like, I'm already thinking, okay, did Gideon know? Like, well, no, we should already assume he knows. So like, he already knew what was going to happen. Who's on the bridge, and exactly why he's going to face Mando as opposed to Bo-Katan.
Right.
Because he just knows. He's already got everything planned out, even if he loses.
And when they
So
bring him to the
what's
bridge, though, it reminded me, and I'm having trouble pinpointing it, but we've seen this in movies and television before, where they've got the villain trapped, but he's still kind of manipulating and calling the shots as the good guys
Oh,
try to
absolutely.
figure. Like, it was so
Dark
cool.
Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dark Knight.
Oh, it is Dark Knight. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it was just cool. And you mentioned Bo-Katan's face when they walk in. She's like, fuck.
Yeah, because she takes it in very quickly with like, okay, wait, now he's in chain, he's now cuffed, so this is not going the way that I expected. And obviously it's got greater importance. I saw Julia asked earlier in the chat if we could kind of clarify the Darksaber rules, which I think we probably got either of y'all, could any of y'all could clarify.
Yep.
But obviously she's pissed because she had it all aligned to work out in her favor, and then Din went and did his thing.
Jake Ryan, I have to step away for the 1 hour liquid
time?
break.
Yeah, you do that, then I'll do that. We can
This is a
time
long
it.
week because we haven't scratched the
We haven't
surface. We're an hour in. Jake Ryan, Jake, could you break down some of those for the uninformed? What the deal is with the Darksaber and why the story matters so much?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
who did you win that from?
Who did you
No, this
best?
is I got one for
Battle
my
at the
birthday last
Target.
month.
Very cool.
I got one at my birthday. They've now sold out. They've dried up quite a bit since that episode aired this year. The Darksabers kind of dried up. My friends over at Hasbro also sent one, so we have two. We're actually dueling Darksabers here. So we're doing some crazy EU stuff here with my 10-year-old. Anyway, the Darksaber is prominent because it was originally created by, and Troy helped me, and Ryan, a Jedi Mandalorian once, ancient times, had created the Darksaber, and whoever held or owned and defeated its opponent in battle was the ruler of Mandalore at that point. And that was one of the reasons for the tensions between the Jedi and the Mandalorians in ancient times, which is kind of maintained subtly over time. In the Clone Wars, we saw that it changed hands a couple times. Pre Vizsla had it. Then Darth Maul executed him and took him. And then that's when we got our Mandalorians, when they put the spikes on their helmets. And that we suspect.
But he took out
the
Satine
armorer.
as well, because we had
And
Satine, right? She got.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then it's lost in combat, and Sabine in Rebels picks it up. But this is weird. This is where they need some more fill in the blanks, a little more information. Maybe we're getting a visual guide for The Mandalorian coming out next year. Cannot wait for those. Those are my jams. But Bo is given the Darksaber, handed over by Sabine. And so there's theories that why did she take it from Sabine, but she won't take it from Mando? Well, we know that Bo lost it at some point since being handed it in Rebels. She's lost it at some point. And so there's theories out there that her just taking it by being given to it it shows weakness. And so she now needs to reclaim it the proper way through battle. And so that's why this is such a major, major deal that Mando has it, someone that she probably doesn't want to fight, not that she's not capable of maybe doing some damage on him, but just because they're partners, right? She's helping him.
There's a respect there now too.
Yeah.
And for those who also don't know, like Duchess Satine is kind of the first ruler of Mandalore that we're ever really introduced to in the Clone Wars. And that is also Bo-Katan's sister.
Cool.
Yes, and they are at odds.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they are and Duchess Satine was having some flirtations with Obi-Wan. They got a pass as well. So and it gets messy, man. I love
really
it.
Like for all of the reasons that Jake just mentioned, I liked the fan theory that female officer that was on Gideon's bridge was going to end up being Sabine as a double agent, because like I had this weird kind of feeling that she was somehow trying to drive the Darksaber back toward Bo-Katan and trying to work that angle to get it back into her hands. And yeah, to win it in battle, she would be there to make sure that it all happened and occurred, and she could keep an eye on it. But she's dead now, right?
Yeah, I don't think any of those officers survived the bridge. Now, listen, I like synergy. Is there a chance that Indiana Jones 5 has him searching for the Darksaber, and we just make it all? Look, kid, I don't know what you're talking about.
See, this is what I mean by the impression guy.
Yeah.
And he totally he went to the bathroom, thought of this joke, and he was like, I'm going to totally say this.
I'm going to say my Indiana Jones. Listen.
So there is a Han Solo Indiana Jones crossover comic by Dark Horse.
Now that is what I'm talking about. That's what I
Star
can
Wars
get into.
Tales. If anyone reads Star Wars Tales, it was each week had multiple stories of just kind of almost what is, right? Not all of them were canonical to Dark Horse comics at that time, and one of them was Chewie it was Indy going through a jungle and finding a structure that he goes inside, and it ends up being the Falcon, and the skeletons of Han and Chewie are in there.
Oh God. I love that.
We got a good one. Kat Hansen said Crystal Skull 2, Dan Aykroyd's Revenge.
There you go. That's what we want. No, but I think for I'm not as informed on the Rebels Clone Wars canon. I'm catching up, and I think this break, whatever this break, we know we're getting Cassian Andor soon, but I think everybody should take the next year before whatever happens next and indulge themselves with this backstory, because we know whether it's in the Boba Fett show, Mando season 3, the New Republic show, this Darksaber, Mandalore, Thrawn, Ezra, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, like it's all going somewhere, and that's what I talked about at the beginning of this episode, where they closed a couple doors, right? But really, they just opened the world, like Jake was saying, to so many more possibilities and so many questions. So,
and the cool thing is you have now Din holding the dark saber, so he's got this kind of King Arthur reluctant king of the throne thing going too, which that gets me super excited for whatever comes next on him.
Jon
Jon Snow
is Jon
totally
Snow.
I mean, I have no idea what's happening with season 3, if there's going to be a season 3, but I feel like that's going to be what they explore. Is like now he's on the throne as the ruler of Mandalore, but he doesn't want it. The Din doesn't want that. That's fortune and glory, kid.
Yeah.
But Bo does.
I saw a article on Variety with Giancarlo Moff Gideon.
Yes.
And he says things that you'll learn in seasons 3 and 4 of The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
So that was a quote from
Okay.
Moff himself.
Now, I like all of this, and I like the Jon Snow comparison as well. And also, without his helmet on with the cape, there's some Jon Snow vibes there, actually.
Right.
I know Pedro Pascal
Time
has
to
been
find some wildlings.
very
Yes.
and who's his cousin? If we find Mandalorian's cousin, and we'll
Oh, she's going to be riding that purple dinosaur from the holiday special that Boba Fett likes to ride.
Finally, HasLab that too while you're at it, right?
All right, where's my dinosaur? It's going to be epic. Okay, so this conversation though is great because like Bo-Katan explains to Mando like the rules, the story. Like I can't take that from you, and he's just like, just take it. He's like, I don't care. Take this thing. He's like, I'm here for the kid.
Yeah. His lack of wanting it is a true leadership quality to have, though. Like he's gonna assume that role, I think,
Right.
at some point.
But and then Moff Gideon has this cool line where he's like, this is what's going to happen because at this point the alarms go off and they said somebody's boarding, no life forms. Boom! All the dark troopers are back from the Clunkies. They're back. They've eaten. They're ready to party. And this is when Moff Gideon says, "This is what's going to happen. Everybody on this bridge is going to die except for me and the child." Like this, he still thinks he's in control, which is classic bad guy.
But I have to say, though, too, that whole scene where you got the Dark Troopers now at the door, he's saying that. And it was like, now we're seeing like the opposite end of like the Phantom Menace, when the Jedis are like, they're still getting through, right? But now it's like the opposite. Now we're seeing it from like the good guys' perspective of the villains, getting through the blast doors. And I thought that was kind of a little, I don't know if that was meant to be a callback or like a reflection of that.
I mean,
but that's how I saw it because that's how I want to see it. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Now, Troy, go for it.
I was gonna say I was seeing a band of rebels holed up in an abandoned rebel base on Crate behind a big blast door with the Empire banging down the door.
Yep.
And who shows up to save the day?
I
didn't get any shoulder rub though. I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Now, before we get there, I know we've been kind of teasing it, but we're about to get there.
The dialogue before that moment I thought was really good when I think it's Fennec is like, the question was asked like how many life forms and she says none, and at that point you're like, I know what this is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And Troy, you mentioned the Boba Fett thing earlier, and I think they did that on purpose. I think from a storytelling point, you were meant to think, oh, Boba Fett's going to show up, but because because this show has had very deliberate payoffs this season and has not really beaten around the bush, I was expecting some sort of resolution or advancement of there is a Jedi. I was just expecting it. So when the alarm goes off and she says there's an X-wing, my heart sunk because that was the first moment when I said, oh, they're doing it. Are they?
And Cara Dune's like, one X-wing? Great, we're saved, which is
right,
awesome.
because
you were like,
yeah.
Dave Filoni?
Right, yeah, is it Dave? Is it Kim's
Is it
Convenience?
Cal Kestis?
Yeah. Well, because that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, if this is the moment where a Jedi shows up, my first thought was, is it? They did show Ahsoka in the preview or the recap. So I was like, could it be Ahsoka? I don't think she'd be in an X-wing. But you see the X-wing pull in, and I said, okay, this is going to be the whatever this is happening now. This, because we'd all theorized, like, how are they? Is it going to be the cliffhanger, right? Are they going to tease something and then you're going to have to wait a year? Or we all kind of said, I know Ryan, you said like, well, maybe like it would be cool where you see a shadowy figure and you don't know who it is, and maybe you see a lightsaber or something like that. But in my delirious nature watching this, it felt like fan fiction is what it felt like.
Yes.
Like for the first time ever watching something where you had headcanon and you had anticipation and predictions and theories, the way the next 15 minutes rolled out felt like, well, they never do this. And it's not because I wanted it. It's because it just seemed like the most like, well, it would be really cool if Luke Skywalker showed up and just destroyed all the dark troopers and then like save, like it just doesn't.
Dude, you feel that way because we got accustomed to not getting what we wanted in the sequels. And I'm not saying that we didn't. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy the sequels, but I'm just saying like when I think of Force Awakens, for example, it's kind of like we never got to see everybody in the room together one last time. So that like when you already have that sense of things getting taken away from you and not being kind of what you hope, but you know it's still going to be good. Right, you kind of go into that after how many years of that, and you kind of start bringing. You're like an abused animal, right? So now you start like going into like, yeah. So now you go in expecting less because it's like I would love this. I ain't gonna get it. That's not how Star Wars works anymore.
I want to throw it to everybody, but my thought is I never think of like, I always like Star Wars as a product, right? And people have expectations of a product that they love. And when you're constantly changing or going the opposite direction or trying to kind of flip the script, it gets a little bit like you just don't expect them to do this thing that you've created in your head. Like, what if? Like, what if they brought back Luke Skywalker? And really, my number one reason for it to not happen was they did make a really big point of Mandalorian is its own standalone thing. It's separate from the Skywalker saga. But as we've inched closer and closer to this moment, it's really kind of like, we got the Empire, we've got the remnants of the Empire, and then Ahsoka's here, and then we got Rebel stuff, we've got Clone Wars stuff, and Jake, I'm going to throw to you. I want to know, take me through your step by step from the second the X-wing hits. I want to hear everybody's breakdown here.
Well, I'll first start with you can't trust what they say or don't say about the Star Wars universe right now, because I remember vividly, and I wish I had that soundbite I could play right now, where they asked when they first announced Mandalorian, and Jon Favreau specifically said, no, this is not about Boba Fett. Boba Fett will not be in the Mandalorian. And now,
right.
Yeah. Whoops. The like they've done with like with Boba Fett, they introduced the character with their signature vehicle. And when that X-wing came, I felt my eyes spread like out of my like ocular cavities. They were just like, I was just like, no, and then I waited for another one, right? They says it's one, and then they show it walking through the computer. And that's a great technique that they use. We see all of Luke's business, most of Luke's business, through the view screen. So we're kind of feeling it and seeing it the same way they are on the bridge. And once they showed it docking, I like jumped out of my chair and looked at the TV as close as I could to see if I could see that it was Red 5. I was trying to count the stripes on the wings, going, are there 5 wings? Are there 5 stripes on there? I couldn't make it out, but that was my first thing.
Blurred it on purpose, then, I think. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, it was not legible. And so then the shot of them walking through the corridor with the back and the cape, and you're like, this feels Luke, but they could go anywhere right now. Honestly, you know what went through my head for half a second too, maybe 2 seconds, was it could be Luke from, you remember the clone from Heir to the Empire trilogy?
The dark,
they did the
dark
Luke clone.
Yeah.
The dark Luke. And I was like, what if this is a cloned Luke somehow coming to take? I mean, because they are tapping into EU so hard, and we're going to talk about how they're tapping into EU way hard with the after credit scene. But that was my whole thing. But as soon as that green saber dropped, I was just like, I thought I was like prepared to see a green saber ignite, and I really wasn't. And then it showed it on one hand that was gloved, and I was just holding my breath until he spun and showed that the other hand wasn't gloved, and that was it for me. That was my confirmation, because Ezra had a green saber too, and so I was like, this could go any way. But as soon as they showed one glove and then not the other, I was just like, nah. And I just like I think that was just my only words I could utter to myself is now.
Remember, we do see the first shots of the lightsaber being wielded. We actually see on the screen, and that's when I knew it wasn't Ahsoka, because I was looking to see if there was two sabers, and but then you see Grogu start coming towards the screen and having that connection. And it was really beautiful and really well done.
Yeah.
But I want everybody to give their breakdown. So, Abby, do you want to go next?
My little bit that I'll throw in, because I think Jake just covered a lot of great stuff. I love the slow melodic guitar picking, the music that plays during his like ascent and entrance. You're like, this is kind of unfamiliar. It's like grungy, and then the violins start to swell, and I at that point was just done and dead. I was crying and wailing and mourning and smacking Craig on the shoulder. It was an emotional.
I did the thing where I literally screamed at the top of my lungs.
It felt like the Book of Revelation.
Luke Skywalker, like of course it was. That piece is called A Friend. That is the name of the piece of music.
Okay.
It's called A Friend.
I like that.
And it's really, really cool, because I was talking earlier, like obviously Luke is so associated with the Jedi theme, and they could have gone really just like in your face John Williams, but it's something old and something new. The saber's green, it wasn't blue. Okay, I'm sorry. Ryan, you're next. I'm so sorry. I should leave. I'm gonna leave. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, go pee and think of another joke.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna come back.
New impression.
Ryan, go for it.
How far are we going? Are we going from this point to the end of the?
Well, I just want to, as a Star Wars fan,
The build up to the reveal.
build up to the reveal, because then we'll talk
Okay,
about
because
it.
like my breakdown goes from like stages. So we'll try to go through the first half of the stages. So when they say something's coming and we see an X-wing, my actual first thought, like a lot of people, is like, oh, here comes Dave Filoni. But then Dave Filoni didn't answer when they said, hey, who is this? And there was no answer.
It's
which
Dave
then
Filoni.
That's when my breathing stopped.
You're over budget.
Yeah. So that's when my breathing stopped there, and I was like, I can't even remember breathing. I just remember just like complete tunnel vision focus on the television. And then as soon as like we see that cloak go by, I could already feel it in my eyes. Like I was just like, I knew that was it. This is happening. And then we saw the saber, and I'm sobbing. And then we see that it's like the other hand has no glove, and now I'm making sounds. I had to close my window. I'm sure the neighbors didn't fucking hear me. And then we get to the point where it's like, he's doing his whole, like, he's just he's slicing through these droids like butter.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, now I'm seeing Luke Skywalker doing cool ass prequel shit. And I'm losing my mind. Now at this point, my knees are to my chest, and I'm holding there, and I'm rocking back and forth.
Yes.
Because I am losing my mind.
Yes.
Like I can't really see what's happening at this point, because already I can feel my eyes are red. The tears are down. This is it. Right? And then, he's there. He's still cleaning all these guys out, and that one last one, and he crushes it like a pop can.
And he
I
wanna fire.
Ryan, before I want to backtrack. and some people pointed it out today, but I noticed it. You know, he you've got the first initial. He's coming through. He's a combination of wielding the saber, doing force stuff, kind of showing off. Let's face it. He was showing off.
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't he move the head of one to like destroy another?
Couple spin moves.
Yeah.
But you know, the main troopers. This is where I was wondering if there was maybe still some of that force sensitivity, because they all, like, as soon as he boarded, like they knew. They turned and they're looking down this corridor. He comes up the elevator. It opens.
Oh, dude, when they do the Batman Forever shot.
Well, it was the Batman Forever shot.
Of him in the elevator.
But it was very much.
That was it. Like, this is where, like, this is where they're going, like, we're making this for Ryan Dole. This is not for anyone else. Maybe Abby, because it's like we're the only ones that worship the prequels. There's some prequel worship going on, right? And we do love Batman Forever, and it just kind of seemed to hit all these little like nods and points where it's like, you know, this is for Ryan and Abby. Like, everyone else can just kind of like sit over there and enjoy them enjoying this that is made for them. And yeah, like I was legit like losing my mind. Like I was just like, and I wasn't even delirious like Craig was at this point. I had a good night's sleep the night before, and I honestly thought I was dreaming. Like there's no way I'm watching this. Like I was losing my mind.
Like the entire time, I would say.
Troy, I'm going to throw to you. Did we all notice how there was a direct parallel to Luke coming down this corridor and taking out the Dark Troopers to the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One? It was very, very, like, I would say on purpose parallel. Like it's, if you do a side by side, it's almost the same. Troy, did you pick up on that? And I also want to hear your breakdown.
Well, I saw John and Aaron also call that out in the chat. Like, I think we all kind of went to that. Like, this is Luke's Rogue One moment where, you know, for all the reasons that Ryan got super hyped to see cool ass prequel shit, this is what people wanted to see in The Last Jedi, and they felt like they were denied. They felt like they weren't given. The good news is what this has done is it has made that moment in The Last Jedi even better, because it's shown how much Luke Skywalker has grown from landing on this cruiser with lightsaber already drawn, wasting everybody in sight, totally, you know, punching with brute force his way to save somebody, where in Last Jedi, he never draws his saber until it's absolutely necessary at the end. In fact, he's not even there. Like, he becomes that sort of pacifist. I don't need violence in order to resolve this situation. So yeah, I mean, I like you guys. I hopped onto the edge of my seat and I was like, "Oh shit, it's Luke." And my wife's like, "It's not Luke. It's not gonna be Luke. And even if it is, they're not gonna show him." And I'm like, "They're gonna show him." And you know, as you're seeing that moment unfold, I started to kind of side with my wife. I thought we weren't actually going to see his face. I thought he was going to come in like Batman, waste all these dark troopers. You were going to see the close-up of him swooping Grogu into his arms, and he was going to disappear, and they would have never caught his face. And getting to see his face, I'm sure we're going to get into, was both good and bad for many reasons. But it was so cool seeing Luke Skywalker in action at the peak of his abilities, at the peak of his physical fitness, at the peak of maybe his hubris. Maybe this is him now realizing, I'm going to go train a whole bunch of Jedi because, you know, I have so much to instill upon future Force users. And this
he's like
why he ends up going into exile. You know, it's perfect.
He's like, you know, my sister and my friend just had a kid. Maybe he could be a Jedi. I'm sure things will go fine. It'll be good. You know, I said this before. I want to talk about this reveal. You know, there's a rumor that there's going to be a Black Series 2-pack. Yakface reported it, of young Luke and Jedi training Luke and Leia. And I told Ryan this week, I said, hey, that was a really cool scene, but let's face it, Rise of Skywalker came out a year ago. It's kind of weird to go back to that. Yeah. And I told Ryan, did I not call you 5 days ago and said, I think we're going to, if there was ever a reason, because toys always spoil everything. You can kind of put the pieces together.
You can predict the future through toys.
Yes.
I always do. What do we got
came
here?
out this year?
Yep. There it is. Jedi
came out
Luke.
this year.
Fuck.
Oh wait, hold on.
There it is.
Gotta stretch.
There it is.
What else came out this year?
Yep. Jabba's palace.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, son of a bee sting! I need that.
Son of skank of the scud pie. I need that Jabba's palace.
Here you go. What's hitting right now?
Thanks,
Where am I?
Yep, there it is.
Galaxies of Adventure and Galaxies of Adventure. Where am I? Here I am.
Luke and
Here I
Boba
am.
Fett.
There I am.
So let's
Toys
talk.
are definitely there.
So here's the
It's
first
ridiculous.
shot. So he wastes everybody, and then Din's like, let him in. And Din puts down Grogu. Grogu the entire time is having this connection to the screen.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler in Armageddon.
He
Yes.
was. You know, these kids in their screen time.
Close my eyes.
Your father
He's
was
got those little animal crackers that
Yeah.
he just like eats and plays on Din Din's tummy, you know.
Dude, Luke comes in and says, I want to shake the hand of the daughter of the most bravest man I've ever met. All right, let's take a look here. We got Luke.
Boom.
I here's my thing. So this is our first shot of Luke. He reveals himself. And I think all of us, I was prepared to see Luke, and I think, half the universe has convinced themselves it was going to be Sebastian Stan, even though there's absolutely, except for one fan art, a year and a half ago, everybody was like, wow, that was going to be Stan. By the way, Sebastian Stan is playing Tommy Lee in the Tommy Lee and Pamela Lee story for Hulu, so maybe Disney was like, maybe not. So I thought Luke looked and sounded exactly like Luke needed to look and sound. We know that they got a stand-in to portray Luke. I don't have the actor's name in front of me, but it's
Max Lloyd something.
Max Lloyd. I went and followed him on Instagram, trying to be his best friend. And if I'll try to, if John Yerkeba, he's in the chat. He had his name earlier. John, give me the name. They had a stand-in, and obviously they used the de-aging facial deep fake technology, which is getting better. We saw it with Tarkin, we saw it with Luke and Leia. I thought it looked really good. I still can't tell what they did with the voice. If they just reused old material, did they bring Mark Hamill in? Obviously, Mark Hamill's voice is deeper and raspier than it would have been for 5 years after Return of the Jedi Luke. But so I'm sure we'll learn in the next
3PO. 3PO.
Hey.
Well, Mark is credited.
He is
Mark
credited.
is credited, so I do believe he did the voice. I think they probably engineered it a little bit because
Right.
if you go back to those. If you go back to those Galaxy of Adventure shorts that they've been doing, and he's got that training on Dagobah episode, and it's got his current voice, and it just doesn't work the same way. But
they can work magic with the voices because Carrie Fisher did new Princess Leia dialogue for the Star Tours ride, and it's her in her 1977 form and sounds like her. And they were able to clean it up and pitch her to make her sound, younger and totally believable. So
sorry,
yeah.
AJ Quick with the comment of the night. He said he breathed in too much of that fire while he was burning his dad. Hey, Sacred Island, watch the language. So listen. There's that uncanny valley thing that happens. We know Mark Hamill is 65 years old. We see Mark Hamill all the time. I'm telling you, if my dad was watching this show, he wouldn't have known a thing. He wouldn't have known something was weird. And neither would your dad. I think you have that part of the equation where every Star Wars fan knows. So it's hard to get that. For me, I thought is it perfect? No. So would we rather have had a different actor playing Luke? I think that would have taken me out of the scene, personally.
Well, I still think there's better deepfake technology than what ILM has.
Well, yeah, tomorrow on YouTube we'll see the really good version.
Oh,
of that.
and we will. And absolutely we will, because we've seen it already with Rogue One and all that other kind of stuff. But I also think that ILM has a bit of an ego. I'm just going to say that straight up because I don't think they're going to want to use somebody else's technology.
That's spoken like a former employee of ILM.
Dude, no, it's just, dude, when you work for any large company like that, even for where I am at, like with Sony and stuff like that, a lot of them want to use their own technology.
They're
They don't really
proprietary,
want to
yeah.
necessarily go out and use other people's stuff. That's why it's like taking everyone so long to jump on board with Unreal, because they're sitting there going, well, we didn't create that.
So
why
you
should
tell
we
me the
use
people at Skywalker Sound wanted to use their own proprietary, audio software for Luke Skywalker?
that? Yeah, I do.
I have a buddy who worked at Microsoft, and he has to beat his head against the wall because they forced them to use Teams. And he's like, "There's so many. I want to Zoom so bad."
Yeah, right. So that's exactly my point. So it's I think it really comes down to that. It's not saying that ILM did a bad job, because this does look good, and I don't know what their budget was necessarily on this. I don't know what their timeline was, because that all comes into play as well when doing these things. So I don't know the whole backstory behind what was happening in post.
I mean, I'm looking. This looks pretty
for what
damn
I
good
saw
to
and
me.
what I got, I'm a very, very happy camper.
Yeah, and I'm glad.
I'm still super stoked. Like, I was fucking sobbing. Like, that the moment he undid the hood, I was doing that like breathing where you can't breathe and you're trying to breathe. You're just like,
that's
right?
called
Like that.
hyperventilation.
Yes.
Yeah, that was me, right? Like it was.
I think it's telling that all the examples in the chat, comparing it to whether it's Tron Legacy or Robert Downey Jr. in which movie was it? Endgame? No, Civil War.
No, Iron Man. No, Civil War. Yeah.
Civil War. Michael Douglas and Ant-Man. All those things. What we're doing is we're comparing a TV show to a motion picture, right? That's the thing, that this is how good the series is. It totally makes you lose perspective. You're watching weekly television. I mean, that is such a different ball game. Now, I know it's streaming, so there's a little, some budgets are a little different, but still, we're not watching a, $100 million, $300, $400 million. How much was, these movies with this insane technology being used? I do have one major problem. Oh, sorry. Go, Ryan, and then I'll talk about my problem.
Yeah. So what was your problem?
Don't look at that's you. You go.
But my biggest problem is I need to see where the costume change happened, because Luke showed up in an X-wing and he wasn't wearing a damn X-wing flight suit. Why does he have his Jedi robes on? He needs to have
the Force.
I would have been so. Oh, I don't know.
Force.
Mercy, big the Force. Come on, man.
In an X-wing. Even Rey coming out of Exegol put on the helmet.
Well, are we to believe? Yeah,
wearing a helmet,
I don't believe that that Luke wore his X-wing flight suit when he went off to Octu. I think he left it behind. I've got no more use for that, Octu. I don't know. I just. To me, it was one of those moments we're always going to remember. And whether or not Luke Skywalker continues on in any form in this show or another show down the road, whatever, we're never going to forget. We're never going to forget this moment. So,
and I think that's why it had to be Mark Hamill. That's why it couldn't be Sebastian Stan in this particular moment. Like, if they're going to do a spin-off show with Luke and Grogu and the Jedi Academy and whatever's going to happen, sure, then they can recast and it can be Sebastian Stan. But having his face was so important. And even if he looked good, I mean, those stills that you keep putting up, he looks fantastic. Jacob Walsh
just showed up.
Jacob Walsh. Hey, this is great.
Yeah.
I did not know there was a video of you.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of technology.
Yeah, we're going to try to fight through technical difficulties, but
maybe we can deep fake some Jacob Walsh in here somewhere.
So keep going, Troy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think I was okay with him until he started talking, and I think that it had two things going against it. Number one, they used the body double. It wasn't Mark Hamill's eyes and mouth, which is what the important distinction with Michael Douglas and Robert Downey Jr. and all of those actors that people keep calling out when they do the digital makeup and the digital de-aging. The eyes are so super important, and even if it is real eyes and it's a body double's eyes behind it, it doesn't quite read as true. It's for the same reason that when somebody, you're used to seeing them wear glasses and they take their glasses off and they immediately don't feel right, like their face doesn't feel right to you. It's exactly that same sort of, it's something inherent in our genetics that we can't figure that out. So yeah, see, look, Jake looks like a totally different person now.
Totally different person.
There you go.
So, and the other thing too is I'm kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt because schedule wise, I know they were up against the wall. They were trying to get this out on a weekly basis, and with COVID going on, everybody's working from home. So I'm sure that 9 out of 10 of those artists were probably working from their houses and doing the best that they can. So
I bet that's also why Mark Hamill wasn't going to be on set.
That's a good point too.
Right.
Yeah.
So Jacob Walsh, you're joining us here. We're almost 2 hours in. We're just getting to Luke revealing himself.
Yeah.
So Abby's leaving.
Right back.
Abby's just bailing. So Jake, the floor is yours. Walk us through. Let's start. We got everybody's play-by-play reaction of the X-wing showing up. So how are you feeling?
Man, like not well, but also great at the same time. I don't know. I was watching you guys all do your reactions, and it's similar. It was like a moment of disbelief and being like, no, but also like, once you see that X-wing, it's like, well, who else is this going to be here? So
Right.
There's just not a lot to. It's like I've watched it multiple times today, and especially just that last, like 10 to 15 minutes. It's just so, dude. Something I was saying to you earlier on the phone is that it's almost like we do not deserve what we're getting. It feels like we were just given the best Christmas present that we could have wished for, and it made me feel bad for complaining about other Star Wars stuff. I was like, am I too hard on The Last Jedi? Should I shut the fuck up? It's like,
yes, you were, but
Yeah. This is Jacob Walsh's redemption story more than anything.
Yeah, he's the Mayfield of this group.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, Jake, we talked a lot about it today. I've already done some version of this podcast 6 times today with a bunch of other people. So, Jake, let's get your thoughts, since this is what we were just talking about, on how we thought Luke looked, and was it the right move to go the route they went with?
I think I agree 100% with what Troy was just saying when I popped on. You can't start off with a different actor, because even though we would know what's happening, that could maybe be confusing to some people. Like if you're recasting, that is something that they usually announce ahead of time, and it kind of prepares people to be like, okay, this isn't going to be Mark Hamill. But you can't just have Luke Skywalker show up and just all of a sudden it's not Mark Hamill anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It would be.
How weird would it have been if it's Mark Hamill, but then Alden Ehrenreich runs in? Come on, Luke, we gotta go. We're gonna get a parking
Luke,
ticket.
we're gonna have company.
I only think it makes sense to recast if their intention is to keep using Luke, to have him show up and show more of that Grogu stuff.
And I don't want them to
really think we're gonna
oversaturate
get.
Luke either.
I was oversaturated, face and pants.
Yes. No.
Dude. Dude, they need like fucking body tampons for when I watch Star Wars, man. Just to soak it all up. Because I tell you, find an orifice, there was fluid.
Now, as emotional it was to see Luke show up, and we all started kind of putting the pieces together, like what's happening. This final goodbye with Din and Grogu was really gut wrenching. It was, I can't even call it bittersweet. It was just, I had feelings of conflict where I was like, I don't want him to go with Luke. Mm-mm. I want them to decide like, no, he doesn't want to go with you, and Luke be like, all right. What did I come out here for?
Did I get something for gas? I came all this way here.
Yeah, a little gas money for the X-Wing. So, but I mean, to me, we talked about the buildup of season 1 and learning who these characters are, and this entire thing with season 2. This payoff was absolutely incredible. This shows what a well-written show and a well plotted out, this map starting from the opening episode all the way to here. This was heart-wrenching. And Abby,
I literally don't know if I can do this one. I can try. When Din says, "I'll see you again," I promise. Like that, I take to heart, and they will at some point see each other. The question came into my mind immediately at that point of like, am I going to see Din again? Is the Mandalorian going to continue in this way? The separation between father and son essentially was something that I was fearing for so long.
I mean, I was waiting for the Guardians, the Cat Stevens,
Yeah, like I'm your father, kid.
Time.
And yes, I'll say that when Grogu's hand goes to the mask, and then when that comes off,
gotta go.
Totally devastating moment for me. That was the hardest. I cried, and then it gets worse from there. He puts his hand to the mask, takes the mask off, then he puts the hand to the face. Din closes his eyes, weeps. It's beautiful, and then the next you see Grogu down, holding the leg like a little
right.
Little
well, because there's been
creatures.
multiple times in the series where we've almost had this moment a couple times where it's time to separate.
They've teased to it,
and it always hurts. But Troy, what was your feeling watching? I feel like the people with kids reacted even stronger. My brother called me today and said he almost went and just got his kid from daycare in the middle of the day after watching it. And I was like, why? If you're at home, why is your kid at daycare? And it was all these other questions. But Troy, what was your reaction to this scene?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had to deal with it yet, but Jake, I know you have. But I think John even called it out in the chat here. Like, he's sending his kid off to school. Like, this is goodbye to kindergarten, basically. And it's that separation where it's like, we're still family. I'm still here for you. I'll see you again later. But you have to go do this, and you have to go do this by yourself. And for all the reasons that he's been fighting to save Grogu this entire time, because he loves the kid. Like, he's finally attached himself to somebody and something, and has finally found his family, his clan. It was tough, man. And as soon as the helmet starts going off, because he only pulled the helmet off in the last episode for the reasons that we're talking about right now. It's like, this is for the kid. I don't care about anybody else in the room. I don't care about anything right now. Whatever Mandalorian creed that I've adhered to for my entire life, it's out the window. Shit, I don't care. And it wasn't like, at this point, after Luke shows up and Din is saying goodbye to Grogu, like, nothing is going the way that I thought it was going to be going.
That sentence didn't sound real.
Yeah, what is happening? Like, I was ready for season 3 of Mando and the kid, and they're pulling into town, and they're gonna have another adventure, and it's like, no, they totally circumnavigated all of my expectations here and turned it into. They set up 3 shows in 5 minutes. How the hell did they just do that?
Yeah. Jacob Walsh. I know. I think it's. I've never hero worshipped Luke, right? So to me, I think as much as I love Luke, I love Luke Skywalker, but I don't think I have that same connection that maybe some of the people who grew up, in the early '80s, do. But I love Luke Skywalker. But I know, Jake, you love Luke Skywalker. But I think a lot of my emotion was really coming from the Din and Grogu stuff. So, Jake, what I'm asking you to do is analyze your tears and figure out where they're coming from.
Where are my tears coming? That's a hard question in a finale like this. It's like they get kickstarted with Luke Skywalker for sure. And the tears are there, and as soon as he's talking, and then like R2-D2 shows up, and all of that is like heavy tears. But yeah, all the Din stuff. You know what though? One thing is, like, when he went to take his helmet off, I instantly had one of those like moments where I thought it was going to be like those YouTube videos where dads shave their beards for the first time.
Oh, he
And I
doesn't
was
recognize.
like, maybe Grogu's going to be like, I don't know this man.
Who's that?
No, yeah, I mean, that's what the whole show has been kind of building to. And like what you were just saying, Troy, it's one of those things that you don't think is coming yet, even though this is the series finale or the season finale. You're not sure. It's just you weren't quite ready for it. We didn't even. It's
You're
like
never going to be
Luke was
ready for
coming,
that.
But I think everybody pretty much thought this was like going to be a cliffhanger episode, and we would. I cannot believe it was all tied up in 47 minutes or whatever. So I don't think anybody was really expecting to have to see that.
Right. Now, Jake Stevens, I'm going to cut to you, but I want to put up this image. If somebody would have told you that you were going to, like at some point you're going to be like, remember when Luke was holding Grogu, the former Baby Yoda, the child, with R2 inside
the Death Star?
Yeah, because it looks like the Death
Yeah.
Star. Like, I mean, just look at that image. Like R2 showing up. We all should have predicted that was going to happen, but you're so caught up in the moment that you can't even. You're like, oh my God, R2's here.
And I want to see what happens right after that. Like they've done their job wonderfully. Like now I need to know what happens with that A or B story with Luke and Grogu and R2.
Like, does Grogu have a flight suit? I mean, this is what I want to know.
Clearly, what happens right after it is they get in the X-wing and Grogu starts playing with buttons and they just crash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where did he go in the X-wing? Yeah.
We learned Luke was a ghost the whole time. Jake Stevens, go for it.
Well, I'm sitting here watching this, and I'm in my head, I'm like, well, damn it, I was right. This is the second season. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy because now this child is leaving, and the show that we have grown to love over the last 16 episodes or chapters is no longer. I mean, it is done. I mean, the Mando Grogu story has sailed, unfortunately, because now it's going to be Mandalorian being Mandalore, right? The ruler of Mandalorian, and the tensions and the battles and the fights. Yeah. And then of course we have what comes after the credits as well. So I was like, it just that's what flooded in. It's like all these fun adventures we've had, all these great things, all this kicking ass to protect the child and save the child and play catch with the child and everything else. It's gone. It's done. And we saw the whole thing. And again, it makes sense. He completed his quest. He is a man of honor. He is a man of what he sets out to do. He believes in that strongly. And so the Grogu had to go. Otherwise, what would Mando, Mando's a failure if he doesn't go. Right. And so it was that to me is the tragedy behind it. But it's so conflicting because, like you're all saying, you're sitting here on this high that Luke Skywalker just whooped so much butt on these Dark Trooper droids. And now you have to deal with the loss in that scene of, which parallels, let me look upon you with my own eyes. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And you got to take the helmet off, the reveal and the goodbyes and it's just it was Hal Hickel. If you follow him on Twitter, he's the animation director, I think, supervisor or something for the show. He tweets a lot. He gives a lot of great information and stuff. He said going into, I think, before last week's, he says, you're in for a roller coaster. And that's all I could think about is how exciting that battle was. And then how elated and amazed I was that it was Luke Skywalker. And then it all came flooding down that it was now I have to say goodbye to Grogu. And then I have to question what's the future for both of them because one's a Mandalorian, one's a Jedi. And then I have to go, shit, what's the Jedi? They all die. Kylo Ren, and then you start having those 30 years later it's just, it's almost too much packed into that little bit to give any one moment your solid full being because it's like,
and then also we don't know what we know Luke has been training Leia. We know that's the only thing we know. And we don't even honestly know if that is before this or coming after this, but like, Luke kind of like defeated the Empire. Is it awkward for him to show up on an Imperial cruiser here and be like, oh god, the Empire?
No, this is a guy who's made out with his sister. Nothing's awkward at that point.
Hey, I want to say real quick in the chats, Emil Shear just joined. Emil's a longtime listener of YHS, and he is in the Netherlands. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, he timed it right.
Oh,
what's up, bro?
So Ryan,
well, we timed it right by not shutting up. But
True.
yeah, I don't even know really what to add because I'm probably gonna end up having a breakdown. At this point, when all this stuff starts happening, where he's like holding on to Grogu and stuff, like I've already started to calm down from Luke at this point.
Okay.
And then as soon as he touches the helmet, I'm a complete goddamn mess again. Because already you kind of like sense it. Like everything's already been kind of like leading up to this moment where he's gonna take the helmet off. So, but when he does, and then Grogu like touches the cheek, I think that was it. It was just like I actually can't even barely remember watching it the first time because I was such a wreck.
Yeah.
Because already when they were already teasing this kind of like this might be happening with like in the chapter of the Jedi, and he's sitting there in the back of the Razor Crest and just holding him and looking at him, and you're already like, oh my god, and like I can't take this.
It's E.T. is what it is.
Started the grieving process.
To me, it's it's E.T. It just hurts.
Right?
Yes,
It just hurts. So
It
already,
just
then all of a sudden, when you're getting to this, and Jake said too, and I know we said this on past episodes as well. We all assumed this was going to end at a cliffhanger. The cliffhanger we have to wait a year for. We weren't expecting this to end, and then all of a sudden now it's like, hey, guess what? You just got your dream come true with Luke Skywalker, because just like Jake, I'm a huge Luke Skywalker fan. And so to get that, and then all of a sudden being like, now you're super happy. Now I'm going to trash your heart. I'm going to grab it, and your heart is now a Dark Trooper, and we're going to play Luke Skywalker, and we're just going to crush it, right? And, the heart nards, we got, like, kicked in them hard, and... and then when I watched it the second time today, it was almost worse because I completely missed the part because I was crying so hard the night before where they're walking away and Grogu is still looking over at Din, and Din's just like fucking sad. And you
so
feel
sad.
it. Like it's just
because Luke said, we got to talk about Luke's dialogue. He says to again, never thought we'd hear this in 2020. So Luke Skywalker looks at Din, who is, taking off his mask, and he's like, he wants your permission. And he tells him to go. But then when R2 shows up, like...
That's what I wanted to say. First of all, yes, this is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, but if you have to get a new dad after Mando, I'd say that Luke Skywalker's pretty good. And then R2-D2 shows up like the new brother, like, dude, I'm going to show you so much porn.
I love porn.
I love it. Like, whenever they talk back and forth about, I wish I understood it.
They connect, and then R2 does the thing.
They got a whole future together. They're going to be best buddies.
He's like, I got Yoda stories for you.
Grogu's like, I saw Bo-Katan's boobs.
I think Joseph Clark called it out in the chat. I think they know each other because R2-D2 being Anakin Skywalker's droid at the Jedi Temple where Grogu was training on Coruscant.
Dude!
R2's like, bro!
Yeah.
Dude, where were you?
Dude, who got you out of there? Remember that? It was freaking crazy, man. I went to Mustafar.
Yeah, R2's like, dude, seriously, dude, we went up to the temple, and my master Anakin was like, he started killing younglings. I was just like, God, this is bad, but it's kind of hilarious if you think about it.
Dude, this is his son. Can you believe that? This is Anakin's son. We're gonna go see his sister.
They kiss.
Pops out his little scomp arm and starts like doing like little hand waves back and forth.
Yeah, they get to know each other. Grogu's like, so tell me about yourself. And he's like, well, I used to bartend on the barge. And
in front of the house.
I survived that too, by the way.
a lot of people survived the barge explosion. All right, well, let's wrap up this we don't need to do categories. I don't think like.
No segments.
Well,
No favorite moment?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I
I'm
have
ready.
All right. Well,
Frickin' segments.
because we got to
We'll
still
do segments, and just because that would be the end of the show, then we'll go into our post credits.
Yeah, and then we got like another 3-hour discussion of what happens next. But let's
And then we're gonna hang out for 3 more hours.
all right. So let's
Oh, absolutely.
let's do our
Like it's a
segments.
bad thing.
Here we go. We've given out our credits. We've done our recap. It's time for the Grogu moment of the night. Here you go. The Grogu moment of the week. Welcome to Star Tours. Jacob Walsh, I know you didn't prepare an answer, but I'm putting you on the spot.
I didn't, but I feel like all of my answers are Luke Skywalker.
Your Grogu moment of the week. Oh,
Yeah, I don't even get it. It's all Luke Skywalker.
Okay, I love that. So Troy.
I think that moment where he's walking or kind of gravitating toward the monitor as Luke is arriving.
Yeah.
Like that he senses the force connection arriving. That was awesome.
See? Luke Skywalker.
Luke.
Well, it's not going to be
Jacob's right.
Grogu in handcuffs looking sad. Abby?
Not that moment, I'll say. It was mine involved Luke though. It's the moment where Grogu's on the chair and he looks and sees Luke for the first time, then looks to Mando with his big eyes and he's like cooing and kind of looking for approval. It was heart-wrenching and so cute, and that was my favorite moment.
Yep. Jake Stevens?
It's got to be when he reaches out to Din's face ever so gently.
Yeah.
Oh,
Ryan?
Craig did kind of steal my moment, but I actually do like the part where like Din goes into the holding cell and Grogu just like,
oh,
you want to do something about this here, bud?
yeah.
Right? Like
Fix this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get me out of these.
Clank them together. Ding ding.
Are we
Come on, buddy.
Now, Emil brings this up, and I was going to bring this up too. Are we surprised that Mando did not give Grogu the metal ball?
Oh.
I'm surprised, but
Yeah, he did.
it could come back. It could come back. Did he not?
No,
Well,
I
he's
think
like-
Din's going to wear it around his
he's
neck like a necklace.
Let him
Good
have
call.
Luke's.
Mounted on his helmet.
Yeah, take the X-Wings.
Luke's
Let
little
him
shifter.
fuck with Luke's ship.
What if Luke was like, Din, where's your ship? Shut up. Shut up.
When they see each other again, that's going to go on the bottom of Grogu's lightsaber.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's definitely coming back. That's not
Yeah.
going to be wasted.
Does anybody else have a Grogu moment of the week, or should we go to our MVP of the episode? Like, we don't know who this is going to be.
Dude, there's one MVP.
Yeah.
And we all know who that is. Jake
right.
already stated it.
Yes, it is
Let's move forward.
George.
I have
Lucas
4 MVPs that are not
Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker.
All right, Abby, tell me who your MVP
James.
is.
Bo-
Bo-Katan,
Solo.
Fennec, Kara, and Casca. I thought they were awesome, and I legitimately respected them on screen and was blown away by that. And I know Luke Skywalker's fantastic, and you got a lot of fanboys, but I like seeing these women do their thing.
There you go.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was nice to see that. Too bad Craig had his deep-breasted misogyny come out and say there was a dude there.
Right, yeah, exactly.
He was delirious.
His dormant misogyny just kind of awoke at that
There-
moment. So
there-
there was
there-
a dude. There had to be a dude.
Yeah, because I was like,
you didn't even do much.
I was like, there's something
He doesn't have
inside me. It's always been there. It's awakening. We shall see.
I nicknamed them the Femme Fire Squad 4.
Oh,
that's good.
Ooh.
That works. Oh,
I like that.
The thing about
Pretty
that
good.
moment, though, that's so cool because it kind of harkens back to Endgame, where there's the kind of force moment where it's like, well, I've got her back, or she's with me, or whatever. Like, this felt much less forced, much more natural, much more like these are
No,
just,
they were badasses, and that's exactly what
Yeah.
they should be.
They
I mean,
earned it
didn't-
before
They
saying
were-
it.
They reminded me of in Kill Bill, the death squad of all of the assassins when they're like a team.
Yeah.
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 man. It really just an incredible episode. Let's get into it because we do need to wind. We're at 2 hours and it's 2 a.m. and I'm ready for second dinner.
I don't want it to end.
Post-credit scene, I almost missed it. I was ready to turn off the television because my face hurt. Let's talk about this. I mean, it's a quick scene. We see Tatooine We see the inside of Jabba's palace. We see Bib Fortuna.
Say it. What'd you call him?
I did not say it. It wasn't me. I did say Bib Fat Tuna. I did. But like, he's eating good. He's eating good.
Big
He's been
fucking
eating
tuna.
good for 5 years. Apparently, whatever they serve on Tatooine, everyone gains a little bit. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Trying
okay.
to take over for Jabba.
Can we
There you
see
go.
him?
And Fennec shows up. Boba shows up. There's this, and we all watched this scene. Like, I don't need to describe it. We all saw it. So and then we get this announcement: the Book of Boba Fett, December 2021. This is where it gets stressful because there's been all. What are you doing?
I'm going out of focus. Bib fucked it all up.
Bib did fuck it up.
Come on, Bib.
Way to go, Bib.
Now we did
Ewanawanga.
McClunky. He said
He's been going to McClunky.
He does say McClunky.
does say
Yes.
McClunky.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes, body positive Bib. Good for you.
How do we feel about the Book of Boba Fett, December 2021? We still do not have an official announcement on Mandalorian Season 3.
It is Mando Season 3. We're starting again. It's going to be Mando Season 3, Chapter 1.
That's
Because
what I think too.
Din's
Book of Boba.
Din's
I think
book
Ryan
is
might be right.
done for right now.
Okay.
And now it's Boba's book, like possessive.
And now we're on the Book of Boba. It's going to be Book of Boba.
Another Mandalorian.
Season 3, Chapter
Yeah.
1. Like, Kat Hansen messaged me earlier today, and she goes, it just clicked in. Mandalorian is not about one specific Mandalorian. It's about...
But
It's
from
in
what
general.
we know, but from what we know, the Boba Fett series has been rumored for weeks that it's already been shooting. I have a feeling they were shooting that post-credit scene, by the way. It's been said that it's going to be like a mini series, like it might only be 6 episodes. I'm thinking,
Or how about 8?
I'm thinking of
It could be one
Yeah,
season.
but maybe it is, and then maybe the next season is Bo-Katan,
Right.
And we get more of the that story.
Yep.
So
And I would love to have that too. I'm with Jake on that. I think it would be because we need to. She's got a whole story too with Din. Now that they have to do something with that Darksaber.
do we
Oh, they're going to
think
have to do something.
Yeah.
do we think okay, so I'm thinking it from Disney's perspective. Mandalorian is the biggest thing in pop culture and media right now. Baby Yoda, the child Grogu, he's the golden goose. I do not see Disney and Disney Plus's 85 million subscribers being too keen on a world without Baby Yoda, the child Grogu. So do we think Grogu's story now moves in a different direction and separates for some time from the Mandalorian story? And putting, I have a feeling, yes, we got to get resolution on the Darksaber, Mandalore, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, all of that. I think Din Djarin will be part of that story. And I do think him and Grogu will cross paths at some point. But what happens with Grogu now? He's with Luke Skywalker. Because I have a prediction. And I don't want to say it first.
All
But-
right.
but-
It's the Kylo Ren, baby Kylo, like baby Ben, and baby Grogu as a show. And it's like Muppet Babies, but Jedi.
Yeah.
Make your
That's
dreams
right.
come true.
Star Wars babies. Yeah,
Do
come
the
on.
same for
That's
you.
When you're
That's
feeling
what we want.
kind of weird and the force is in your brain.
My
I
M count is really big.
Uncle Han is insane. I'm so sorry. It's getting late. But what I want to know,
Star Wars. Okay.
we know we got a Boba Fett show coming, right?
Yes.
Right? We know we've got Rangers of the New Republic. We know we've got Ahsoka. We know there's going to be 3 ongoing series, and possibly we don't know what's going to happen with season 3 of Mandalorian, whether all that. But I want to know, what is the next chapter in the Grogu story? Is it a series? Is it a movie? Is it a flash forward? Because I'll just give my prediction. I think we are going to move forward 30 or 40 years. And we are going to see a post-sequel trilogy version of Grogu, possibly meeting back up with Mando. And I think it's going to be the Taika Waititi movie, is what I think.
Oh,
got
interesting.
me.
That's a bold prediction.
I'd buy
Because
that for $1.
Taika did, he did season 1 directing. Obviously, he did IG-11's voice, but he didn't do anything this year. I could see... Now, also from what we know, the Taika Waititi movie isn't scheduled till probably 2024. So I could be dead wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have a 4-year break of Grogu. Jacob Walsh, do you have any thoughts on what's going to happen here?
Oh man, like, part of me thinks that he's done for a while. I do not think that we're getting like a Luke Grogu show, but I mean, also, I didn't think we were getting Luke Skywalker. Period. So
Right,
who knows? But there's too many. There were too many questions about Grogu and what's going to happen to him. Like those are going to be answered somehow. But I think maybe we're taking a break from him for a bit.
Okay. Fair enough. Ryan?
I honestly don't know what to expect. I was thinking the closest thing he might show up in is maybe Ahsoka. Maybe. But I don't know where her story is. I know her story is going towards Thrawn. And whatever Thrawn was doing might lead back to what the cloners were doing in Mandalorian, which somehow might lead back to Grogu. So, I mean, all this stuff snakes and intertwines with each other. So he could honestly appear in any of this.
Right.
Like he could even reappear somehow in the Book of Fett, right? So, I mean, but you're right. I don't see him going away. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, I was just going to say we could be getting answers about what they were doing with him without having to see him. But It's like, I know a lot of people are like, well, what happens, when Kylo tears the school down? Or like, what? I know people really want to know what his future is going to be like.
Right. Is there a chance, and Jake Stevens, I'll go to you. Is there a chance that, we know we're getting Andor coming up the next couple months. Then we know December 2021, we're getting Book of Boba Fett. Is there a chance they hold off till Celebration 2022 and then have the return, the big announcement, whatever it is? I mean, I
absolutely, because Celebration is going to be in August still. Last I heard, August 2022, and this show will probably debut in the fall, like it has for the previous 3 years at that point. So that would be a huge. Mando was a huge panel this time around. Last year. And so absolutely, I think. And I agree with Jake there. I think that we might see some ideas and concepts around Baby Yoda come up and maybe just react throughout. I'm a strong believer, Ryan, with you, that next season is all Boba Fett themed. And then we'll come back. So he'll have one season that's just Boba Fett, the book, the chapters, whatever, and then we'll come back to pick up the story or it's going to be like Conan. We're going to come in and see him king now, and we're going to have to, he's going to have to, what do we know about Mandalorian show so far is that they drop into like multiple planets every week. And so there's no reason at some point he doesn't go to the planet where the Jedi Temple are on because he needs Luke's guidance, or he comes across another Jedi and wants to deliver him to Grogu. Maybe he starts collecting Jedi foundlings throughout the country, throughout the galaxy. Maybe that's his role, is to populate Luke's Jedi Academy. When he's also trying to rule Mandalore, but he doesn't really want to. So I think there's all sorts of things that can pull him back in. But whatever this Luke Skywalker fan club is, I need to get in on that, because you can see I might be into I might qualify.
Yeah, I think
that
you're
was
in.
a leg, right?
You like to know.
Oh, Ryan.
That's what the ladies call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
No, I mean, well, literally, we were talking about, getting the rebel medallion, the rebel insignia on your face. I think I can do it.
I think
really
we should all do it after this episode. It's
tonight.
like a friendship.
If only we knew a tattoo
Walk
artist.
your hometown though, first or something.
I need
We
somebody
should just all get Grogu tears.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as we wrap up here,
I think we're gonna see Grogu when it's the right time.
When it's the right time.
That trusting Dave Filoni, trusting the way the show has been made, and
John
moving
Favreau.
forward,
I mean, they're making the right decisions. And what I said at the very beginning of this episode, there's a lot of questions that need to be addressed. There's a whole story that they introduced, which was the remnants of the Empire trying to clone or get this blood to clone this force sensitive being. We have a lot of theories of what that is, but we don't have answers. So, I mean, I could see Disney making more announcements, more shows in development that kind of go down those roads. I mean, we could see a show called The Rise of the First Order or Snoke Ain't No Joke or something like that.
Yeah. Hux's birthday surprise. We could get whatever.
Hux's birthday hug.
Yeah.
How
Sorry, go
cool
ahead.
is it that we're 2 weeks after they just announced 10 shows, 10 total shows, 2 movies, a whole bunch of stuff. Like, how cool is it that we're sitting here talking about them having this big surprise that really hit me in the nostalgia feels of like, I just watched something cool. And at the end, it's like James Bond will return, or like, stay tuned for the Avengers, or watching Back to the Future 2 and seeing the trailer for Back to the Future 3. Like, this was something so totally unexpected after getting basically the all-you-can-eat buffet 2 weeks ago, and all of a sudden you're like,
You talk about
you
Cara
think
Dune?
you know what's coming?
Yeah, it's
to
insane.
me that was awesome. Like, the fact that they kept that so close to their vest, and it was revealed at the end of a end credit sequence, like, that was rad. Like, that was of all the things that have happened here, it was just cool to have that spark of excitement of being in a movie theater and seeing that thing at the end of the credits, and then coming on and talking to you guys about it, because we have no idea what it means. Like, it's awesome. I love that. That's what it should
I
be.
love Cara. I can't give me
the plan.
Yeah. Yep.
Which didn't happen during the sequel trilogy, right? They're like,
well, they didn't have a plan
to direct the next movie. When is it? 2 years. Can we get somebody? What do you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
it goes back to what you were saying, Jake, about like playing in your room as a kid with those storylines. Like, that's in your heart, and that's crafting your storytelling. So as an adult, Dave Filoni and the people behind this series are making great stories happen.
Before we sign off, because I know we're about to be done, I want to give a shout out. I think that Cara Dune is a great character. I think she's great. I want to see more of Cara Dune. Because I think her story is really interesting, and I think she's cool, and whatever. Yeah, maybe the actress is
separate the art from the
a
artist.
little off the deep end or whatever. But who cares? Like, I think a survivor of Alderaan rejoining the New Republic to try to do what's right. I think there's some really cool ways to explore that story, and that's just one of many things I'm excited about. But let's roundtable this. Final thoughts, and then we're going to be done. Thank you, everybody. We had a bunch of people watching tonight. Love the chat, was great. We really appreciate everybody's support. We will be back. Will it be Midnight Mando? I have no idea. It's going to be
It's going to be Boba Fett book club.
the Boba Fett book club.
That's
something.
good. I like it.
We're making t-shirts.
Yes.
Yes.
Chapter 1. Just him on that. Like, what if the whole show is just Boba Fett sitting on Jabba's throne, like, I'm not leaving. I like it here.
Like King Conan. That would be his King Conan moment.
Oh, yeah.
Fennec.
Let's do it. Jake Walsh, thanks for joining us tonight. Final thoughts on season 2 of Mandalorian.
It feels like every single episode had a treat hidden inside of it. Like, there was a surprise. There was something that was almost completely unexpected happening in every single episode of season 2, and it's kind of mind-blowing, especially with like the roller coaster that Star Wars has been since it started. So it's, I don't know, it's almost like The Mandalorian's a perfect show.
Yeah, it feels that way. Troy?
Yeah, I mean, totally echoing what Jacob was just saying. Like, it feels like a perfect show. It also feels like a perfect, when you listen to an album for the first time and you love it, but you need to go back and listen to it 2-3 times before you really start to appreciate it. I'm looking forward to going back and re-watching from season 1 to season 2 to the finale that we just saw, and and seeing all of those nuances and picking up on all the things that I didn't pick up before. It's rare that I'm excited to just start a show over immediately after a season finale. So that's a good thing. But I also want to take my time to thank you, Craig and Abby and Jake, for lending the Yes Have Some brand to this show, because like this has been so much fun being able to sit and talk with you guys after every episode and just geek out and enjoy it and not have to deal with the cynicism of things that are happening from the outside world, and seeing 50 people at least in the chat that's on our screens right now that have stuck through the entire 2 hours here too. So obviously everybody wants to be a part of it. So thank you guys for what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, we thank you. We think, and I don't want to embarrass him, but Troy's a hardworking man, and I do want everybody to go buy his new book. Is it still sold out on Amazon?
Can they? Yeah.
Sold out on Amazon. Yeah. Barnes and Noble, I think, still has it. Yeah.
The Wakanda Files, a complete guide to the world of Black Panther and Wakanda. I just made up that subtitle, but it sounded good. And
We'll go with that.
and obviously Troy, GBHQ, the Ghostbusters. You know, if you thought this was a big year, 2021 is going to be pretty big for us Ghostbusters fans. So, well, in theory, we thought 2020 was going to be a big year for Ghostbusters fans. Guys, we got Luke Skywalker.
Year, you mean all the actors dying?
Right,
non-stop?
exactly. Yeah, listen. We live in a world where we got Luke Skywalker, a young Luke Skywalker, before we got Ghostbusters Afterlife. So we got 2 coronavirus vaccines and Luke Skywalker before we got the damn Ghostbusters movie. Jake Stevens, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
And feel free to rain more praise on me. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Yeah, anything else about us?
Another tragedy is that the fact that Jeremy Bullock behind me here passed a day before the show based on his legendary character was announced. So.
You wouldn't have thought that that would be the second place biggest Boba Fett news of yesterday, but very sad. Right. Him and David Prowse. We've lost some legends. So.
And Charlie Lippincott, who was pretty infamous behind the scenes getting Star Wars off the ground back in the day. The show is amazing. I think season 2 outshines season 1 just by the fact that, you know, like I said before, so many Easter eggs and so many things came to fruition. I remember us talking a few shows ago. We're like, there's no way they're going to tie up all these different ends of the Dark Trooper, Fennec, Boba, you know, Bo-Katan, Grogu, you know, and they do a nice job of tying up a lot of them. So I'm now my goal now is to go back and figure out where I could find the Return of the Jedi specialer edition, where everybody jumps off the barge before it blows up and survive.
All the rats leave the ship.
And they have to walk all the way back to the palace.
Yeah.
Right? We have Bib Fortuna. We have Reeves. We have Rystall here, the dancer in the background. We have all these people. Looks like Squidhead was there. I mean, how'd they survive? I need that comic book.
Yeah.
Max Rebo better be returned in Book of Fett.
Yes.
I'll tell you that right now.
And what does that Twilight go on to do after she's freed? I hope she starts an Instagram account and like does her own thing. Starts selling essential oils. Yeah.
Dude, 1.5 million followers overnight.
Yeah.
Dude, she might be shacking up with Pelimoto or something.
Dude, why not? Yeah.
Ryan Dole, the you spearhead. I said at the beginning of the episode, I was the week before Midnight Mando. I was like, I'm not doing it. It's too much work. But you said no, fuck that. We're doing it. Let's do it. I was like, okay, we'll do it. Final thoughts.
This was an absolute.
Oh, we're out of time. No, I'm just kidding.
Season.
Bye, Ryan.
Bye. All right. Have a good night. No, it was a trip. It was great. It was. I love this show. It brings me a lot of happiness.
Right.
So, I'm super stoked, and nothing filled my heart more than when they went into Jabba's palace at the post credits, and as Boba goes for that throne, Fennec heads straight to the bar, grabs a bottle of spotchka, and she just does that like lean back pose. Hang on.
Bless you, Ming Na Wen.
With the
Bless you.
spotchka and just like holding a gun. Like, man, I would love to have her airbrushed on the side of a van. Like, that's how badass she
dude.
looked.
Yes.
Right?
Flanking
Like,
both sides.
man, if I wasn't such an emotional wreck when I went to bed, there would have been a serious calm down, and there's probably going to be a calm down
There's no fluids left.
tonight, no doubt. Yeah, right?
Well, I will say this. Abby, did you give your final thoughts yet?
I was going to drink from the spotchka from the bottle, actually, as my final thought. Just to say cheers to everyone. We've really got a nice little family unit going. The people watching, the people that we are that I'm talking now on the screen with. You guys are like,
It's been great.
yeah, we can go into battle together. It's very special.
I will say this. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning in every week. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to our man, Blue Chainsaw Man, Jeff Wisnot, who
Keeping it positive.
he was our moderator, and he's helped us out, weeding out the crap the last couple weeks, and which there really wasn't much, but it helped us out a lot. Thank you for that. Buy yourself something, and just
Buy yourself a vintage Kenner Bib Fortuna
Yeah, go buy yourself
that comes
something.
with the
Let him
cane
buy
staff
something.
that he
let
had.
him buy something.
Yes.
Let him buy something.
Yeah.
What I will say is, Star Wars has had such a resurgence, and it's so good, and I know we all love it, and I know Abby. Well, I think people sometimes have tried to figure out what the core three of Yes Have Some. We started this thing a long time ago, 5 years almost. This has been really fun. Abigail, myself, and Jake, our favorite Star Wars movie, all three of us, is Return of the Jedi. So there ain't nothing wrong with seeing Bib Fortuna and Jabba's Palace and
Hell no.
Ryan. What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
It's okay. I know everyone's going to say that my favorite is Attack of the Clones,
Yeah,
but it actually is Return of the Jedi as well.
All right,
because
there you go.
That's the one I remember. That's the one that hits me more nostalgically, but I still think it just holds up and it's still good.
right.
And then second is Attack of the Clones because it builds all the best foundation for Star Wars.
Yeah, it's all good. So listen, everybody, we'll let you go. It's 2:30. This was our longest episode. I like talking, so I'll keep going if I don't
Yes.
shut up. Stay tuned. Yes,
Return
have
of the
some.
Midnight Mando.
YHS podcast. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. We have our 5-year anniversary coming up. We got Toy Anxiety that I do with Ryan every week. We've got the core episodes, bonus content, and obviously Jake Stevens. Thank you so much for your help. Everybody, check out From Forlong to Zuckus. Check out Galaxy of Toys, and of course, you frequent the Sandcrawler podcast, which is a Star Wars toy podcast, which is unreal.
They were in the chat tonight as well.
Yeah, so lots of good stuff. Bye, everybody. We will see you next year. Christmas 2021.
We'll see you at AM Andor.
Great vacation, family.
Yes, and
It's an Endor in the morning.
Yes.
Christmas gallery Mandalorian.
yes,
Reminder.
Christmas Day. We're gonna find out.
Let's just keep doing this. You want to do it next week? We'll just talk about an old
We'll probably
episode.
come back
Let's
next
do it.
week.
It's just Christmas Day. No one's going anywhere.
And then also we're gonna find out. Mark Hamill. He tweeted today. He said, "See anything good on TV lately?" I was like, "You son of a fallen Jedi."
Yeah.
All right, bye, everybody.